Well, welcome to Bubbleman's world, everybody. I think I've got this thing going. Let us see. We'll head over to the YouTube channel real quick and see if it's working over there. Welcome to Hash Church, episode 2, by the way. Really excited to have you guys here, if there is even anyone here. This is happening right now. Let's see where we're at. Let's see where we're at. Hope I didn't lose y'all. Hope I didn't lose y'all. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to copy this real quick. Sorry that you guys are having to watch it like this. Bummer. I had it all open on YouTube and then I went away and it disappeared. So let's just see what we can do here. Maybe we'll go to another computer. I think that's a good idea. So Hash Church today, nobody's in here just yet, so I'm gonna take the time to find out about upcoming events. Hash Church 2 says it's live right now. All right, there we are. See if it'll load up the chat, because that's what I'm looking for, to see if you guys are actually seeing any of this right now. And then what I'll do is I will link the chat room from in here. I will link it to the YouTube channel. However, right now the YouTube channel is not opening up the chat. So I guess I'll go to my Facebook page, if any of you guys know my Facebook page, to try and get you guys in here. Unfortunate that it's working like this, but this is how it goes sometimes, you know? Trying to open up windows and not happening. All right. Let's start Hash Church up. Oh, all good. Johnny B says it's all good. Well, excellent. But Johnny B, we still need some of us in the video chat. I would love to get D420K. I would love to get Johnny B. So I'm going to send that link out first to D420K. It's amazing how the nervousness of trying to get everything operating fast, I'm pushing all the wrong buttons and I can't open things fast enough. But here we go. Hopefully we can get D420K in the house real quick. Johnny says it's all good. It would be great to see the chat, I have to admit. I would love to see the chat. All right, John's sending me stuff. All good. 32 following. We're chatting. Excellent. Well, welcome everyone. This is, I think we should start it with a bowl right off the bat. Sorry about my technical difficulties there. You know, it's probably not a bad idea for now to have just myself in the chat. And what I'll do is I will link through YouTube. Sorry, well, I'd love to link through YouTube, but I can't because I can't send the text to John because he's on a Samsung phone. I can send it to Darrin, and then I'll get Darrin to try and send it to John and a few other people. Can you send this to John? And would love to get John and Darrin in here at least in my Google chat. You know what? I'm just going to put it on Facebook. And that way, I find it a lot easier to have people in here to talk to rather than be by myself. I probably won't be answering my texts anymore, John. You're blowing up my phone. I'm not able to turn each time. I'm going to pass that to Horatio as well. Perfect. Oh, and that's how I can pass it to Johnny B. Excellent. Okay, Johnny B, there you are. Horatio, there you are. We passed it on to D420K. Maybe give Matt the link if he wants to make it in. Send the link to Jibs if he wants to make it in. I think this is great. Okay. I would love to be able to read the chat, though. That's what's really downplaying me right now, guys. I want to be able to see what you guys are saying. I think that would be pretty key. So, how's everyone doing today on Hash Sunday? Hash Church in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Got some exciting news happening. Welcome, Horatio.
What's up?
Oh, good to see you, bro.
Long time.
Yes, it has been a long time. I was thinking about you the other day. I met the owner of Eden, and I was talking about the LHO, and he didn't even really know about it. And I said, listen, man, you really should get in touch with Horatio. This guy's a real intelligent cat. He's not going to ruin anything you have. He's only going to add it to what you have. And he was really interested in meeting you, bro.
Cool. I guess I got to try going downtown more often. It's this bush life that gets so cozy.
Welcome, John. Yeah, I know what you're saying, man. Bush life is cozy. I'm out here as well. And now I can see the chat. So this is great. D420K says it's not working. I've got the chat up and running, so now if people have questions for myself or Horatio or Darrin or John or anyone for that matter, you can punch it up. And I agree, Stoner Montreal, let's get high. Who can't see our chat in here? I can see the chat, Positive Vibes. I just now am able to see it. Okay, what are you puffing on, Horatio? What strain of the day for Mr. LHO?
Might reach for some Rockstar Kush. Might reach for some, what is this? Tuna Bear mixed with Rockstar. The Tuna Bear it's just sugar.
For those of you that don't know, Horatio produces an oil product, Shatter, using a terpene called D-limonene. Horatio's an incredibly intelligent guy. He's definitely got high integrity, which is why he's currently in the low profit margins. But that's okay, because high integrity to me is way more important than high profit. And if you stick with your passion and your high integrity, profits will come in abundance. So if you guys haven't heard about Horatio, check him out on Facebook. Look into the limonene hash oil. And if you got a question for him, he's in Hash Church right now. He will help answer your question. All right. I'm some Firestarter. Can't figure out how to work Google Chat thing over here. I could put the Google Chat link in here, I suppose. Then we will blow up with a bunch of people. I'm going to do that later. That's what I'm going to do. For now, we're going to hit a puff. I've got fresh frozen Astro Boy, really beautiful stuff that I just peeled off the parchment. I've got some full melt dry sift that I just cleaned over my screens, which we'll be doing a little bit later on. I'm going to clean a little bit of dry sift for you guys on camera because that's fun, right? D420K, you get on the video by clicking the link, which I sent you to your messenger. On your messenger, I've sent you the link. There we go again. I'll send it one more time. That is the Google Hangout link that you can get into. And we got Johnny left again. Well, Johnny's back again. All right. I'm joining you for a puff. And when I say you, I'm talking to everyone. Welcome, Sync Florida Sync. Welcome, Adam. Positive Vibes. Permanently High. Hewlett, Trees Maestro. I don't know how many people are in here, but welcome all of you. I'm really happy to share this Wake and Bake with you. I haven't puffed yet today. If you could kind of tell at the start when I was trying to figure out getting Hash Church going, I was a little bit stressed out. Let's have a relaxing hit. Well, let's see what Darrin's doing here. We better send him another link. It's not working for him. Let's see what we can do for Darrin. I won't be able to do too much more sort of, whatever you call it, troubleshooting, because I want to get into Hash Church. I want to get into talking. I'd love to have my boys in chat. It would be good. Okay, here's a serious question for someone who's looking to grow outdoor personal in New Brunswick. What and where should I keep in mind for my first attempt? Any location advice? Big do's, big don'ts. Well, that's a big, loaded question. Welcome, John. I hope you're here to stay, buddy. Johnny B? Johnny B? All right. He's not saying much, but That's a big question. What to grow? I mean, really, I would try and figure out talking to someone in the area of New Brunswick. Anyone that's going to try and answer that question for you that doesn't live in New Brunswick may have a hard time. You're going to want to make sure that your situation is that if you're unlicensed and it's illegal, well, I mean, you have everyone to watch out for. You have to watch out for the cops. You have to watch out for the rippers. That's a lot to watch out for. You know, you're going to want to find a spot that's not too difficult to get to, but at the same time difficult enough that people aren't going to accidentally show up to a place like that. I don't grow a ton outdoors, plus I'm licensed, so I might not be the best person to answer that question. I wish we had some more growers in the room. We would be able to get you that question answered. D420K can't get into the chat for whatever reason. He's not able to make it into the video aspect of the chat. So let's see if we're going to get this up on Facebook, because that's what I'm thinking. I guess we could put the link as well. I'm not sure how well this will work. Probably because it's a live link. I don't know if you can invite people the same way. Very new at this. How did you get in, Horatio? Through the link that I sent you?
Yeah.
I wonder why it's not working for D420K. I sent him even different links, and it's just not working for him.
Maybe he's not logged into his Gmail.
Yeah, Gmail's a bitch, isn't it?
I know. I did my name swap way before, because it's hard for some reason when you're in a Google chat. It keeps forcing you to be the old person.
Right.
I think that's why John was Medtainer and stuck.
Yeah, they don't quite have Google Chat figured out yet, I think, and it's given them a bit of problems here. Yes, like this, Darrin. He clicked this video. This is what he did. And then he clicked on that. I know you don't want me to send you that link, but I'm just letting you know that's what he clicked on to get into this chat. So now I'm going to quickly, I think, put the chat link, because I would have loved it if my friends could have made it in, but clearly they can't. Oh, that's not going to open now. And so what I'll do is I'll put the link up in the chat right now, and that the first 10 people that want to try and get in, they can do that. If it comes through, if it comes through. Yeah, we're trying, Chris. There's a bit of technical difficulties. Welcome, Andrew. Yeah, you know what? If Horatio wants to talk a little bit about delimonene explanation, extraction process, he can go into that while I do my technical difficulties, if you would like to, Horatio.
Sure. I mean, where do I start? I mean, I start with my first dab, quitting smoking, learning about lungs that are finally free to breathe, illusion-free for the first time. So it was kind of the first, for tobacco, the same pizza box situation, the tobacco being the box, the nicotine being what I'm after. And when I made that switch and my lungs cleared up, I got to try BHO. You know, I had iron lungs, leather lungs. Yeah. 2 months in, my wife's like, "You're coughing worse, buddy." And I'm like, "It's catching up. I don't understand." So I looked at everything. I looked at the bubble, looked at the ISO, looked at what gives, what's trending, and why is this BHO sweeping the nation. And something doesn't click with my body that should click for all this extraction being so powerful. It felt like a mixed medium. So I started the research. I'm like, why is there no organic solution, true organic, that, you know, the average guy can actually get his hands on? So I pushed, and 8 months of research, $25,000 in equipment, upgrades. We got to some point where we could get something dabbable. And then I became the guy in the woods that had been dabbing his own stuff for too long, and it's time to come to the city and see how you feel. It's just too much YouTube and Facebook, and it's not a bioassay, and it's not a, this feels more positive, more beneficial. If I'm looking at, broad speaking, what methods are we going to address cannabis with when we're trying to actually heal a larger nation? And I'm like, I can't do it with 10 billion closed loops just yet. Is there anything else that the pharma company is going to take? Because they're not going to take they're not going to take BHO as quickly, and what do they do? It's CO2 or ISO for them, so what non-polar solutions do we have? What's the power of this non-polar? BHO has, it has characteristics that non-polar seems to do, but how are we going to do it in 100 years? It's a temporary solution for everybody. It's not a real plan wholeheartedly for mankind, so that's what I'm looking at, and that's why it's not as fast as just coming up with something, a hustle, you could say.
For sure, and the BHO is very quick on the hustle. It's very prohibition-based. It's very easy. Grab some cans, blast some herb, get a golden honey quality oil that to the naked eye of a non-connoisseur may be something that is decent or worth buying, but we know from experience it's not the case. Welcome, Wayne. I muted you because you came in with a loud mic and it was making Horatio echo, so you may have unmuted yourself at this point, and your mic sounds good, so
thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Horatio's just talking a little bit about his LHO, doing extractions using terpenes, limonene terpenes. It's definitely a little bit different from from the majority of ways that people are doing extractions. It's another different, interesting way to add to the quiver. And I just puffed a bowl of 90 micron Astro Boy. Loving that 90 micron Astro Boy. I wonder what's happening with Medtainer, why he's coming in and out. He's having a hard time. You okay, Johnny B? It's in the comments section, guys. If you understand YouTube, under my YouTube video, there's a comment. It'll say started on October 5th, and then it says Hash Church Sundays, my second live event. Read the whole comment, and when you get to the end of it, you'll see that there's a Google link. Now, D, it's obviously not working for you because I already sent you that exact link multiple times. But for the rest of you, you can go down to the bottom and figure it out. And it's there. Look, more people are figuring it out. You've got 90 micron just came. Boy. You've got Kyle just 90 micron Astro Boy. I wonder what's happening with Medtainer, why he's coming in and out. He's having a hard time. You okay, Johnny B? So here's a point of advice, guys. Don't come into the room with like a radio or a loud TV if your mic is turned on, or I'll have to mute it ASAP-a-rooney. But otherwise, welcome, everyone. And there is a little bit of a delay because this is live. I'm watching it over on my other computer, and there's a mild. The rest of you can go down to the bottom and figure it out. Look, more people are figuring it out. You've got Quinn just came. John B is a super nice guy. Not working for you, Johnny? Well, I wonder what's happening with Medtainer. Why are you going again? Mute. A hard time. Mute the mics. All right. Here's a point of advice, guys. Don't come into the room with like. Welcome. I'd love it if you guys could your own mics when you come in. Because what it's doing is it's causing feedback loop on the sound, and it probably doesn't sound that good. Now, if you're like No Way, who just came in, he's got his headphones on, so he won't create that sort of echo. Oh, don't worry about it, Tyler. We're learning here all together, man. I'm totally new at this. I'm trying to organize and keep this going pretty good, but I think it's time to make some hash. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Weird if this wasn't so jammed, but apparently it is. Alright. Those darn Apple cords. They really stick, don't they? Alright. So, welcome to my hash station here, gentlemen. And ladies, if there are any in the house, I highly doubt it. So, when I'm cleaning my dry here all together, I'm totally new at this. Who do I got? Connor, mute. Yes, Darrin says, fuck this. Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry that you can't get into chat. That blows for sure. But I don't have time to try and figure it out for you right now. I'm going to my shop and smash something. Fuck, I hate that Darrin's upset right now. I'll smash something for you, buddy. I'll smash this bowl of dry sift.
smash some BHO smokers.
Smash! No, we never smash the BHO smokers. We educate, and then keep in mind, of course, you know, not that I'm a fan, but I guarantee you there's going to be someone out there, chemist with an incredible, you know, closed loop system or something, that eventually produces a safe product. Now, 99.9% of people are never going to do that, so I like guys like Horatio who are figuring out other ways that are making, you know, safer. All right, whose mic am I doing now? Connor, if I mute your mic, please don't unmute it, because it's the sound of the video game or whatever, your phone beeping. I just gotta turn it off. All right, I'm smashing this one for you, Darrin. Sorry that you can't get into chat. That looked like a great hit, Horatio.
Oh, well, I'm vaping and dabbing. I've always been a smoker, one way or another. But
Yeah, dude,
I had to clean it up.
So, what we've got here are two screens, a 60 micron and a 90 micron, stacked on top of one another. Now, not stacked on top of one another the way you might think they should be. You would think that the 90 should go on top and that the 60 should go underneath because 90 is bigger and 60 is smaller. However, that would be incorrect. And in fact, 90 LPI is 180, whereas 60 LPI is 250 micron. So they're counterintuitive numbers. This confuses a lot of people. I'll repeat it as I have many times before. When you're shopping around for mesh, don't ask for micron numbers, which is like happening right now. They're like, I'm not going to buy those screens or whatever. I could just make them myself. It's like, absolutely, you totally can. Just please do not go with micron numbers to a screen maker and ask for mesh screens, because what you'll get is a counterintuitive product. You'll get, you know, a 200 micron or 150 micron in LPI is like 5 micron or something. It's super small. It's ridiculous. You would not get anything, and it would cause you problems. So please try to avoid that. If you're going to go and try and make your own screens, go to a silk screener and ask for a 60 LPI or mesh count, or ask for a 90 LPI or mesh count. And, you know, if you are going to ask me a bazillion questions after you go get your own screens made, just buy them off my site. It'll be worth the amount of questions I answer for you and our customer service, and the fact that, you know, they're pretty much the same price as if you went and got them made yourself. So we love your support. I'm always here for you, whether you bought them from me or not. I will still help you and answer your questions, but I will go out of my way to say, you know, if you're going to ask me a million questions anyway, it would be great if you supported our company and bought the product from us. Anyway, when I'm dry sifting on screens like this, and how this screen trick works, because this really is a trick more than a technique. The screens are extremely large. You heard the numbers I mentioned, 250 and 180. That's a very high screen size for dry sifting, like ridiculously high. 10 years ago, if someone would have said to me, I'm using a 250 to dry sift, I would have for sure laughed at them, which teaches me that, you know, the more I learn, the less I know, so don't ever think you know anything, because you really don't. But what we know about this is the 250 micron, slightly above the 180, okay? I've got these things added on, my little sort of soft, plushy things that raise the screen just enough, right? You see the raise? Now, in that space, what's going to happen is this, in that technique. The screen, the tripod is going to fall. I got to mute Chris real quick. Sorry, Chris. I will unmute you guys eventually, and we'll have a conversation, but I'm blabbing on right now. So it's Hash Church. I want to see you guys smoking. When you're doing this particular trick, what's going to happen is you've got your trichomes that you're breaking off the plant matter. Now, with trichomes, there's an enormous amount of contaminant because glandular trichome heads, oh, good to see, very good to see, excellent. I like it. Oil slick. Looks like sift or beautiful hash. Good stuff. Thumbs up. When you're doing that, when we extract resin from the plant, what we don't understand is people want to believe that they have 25% resin on their plant. Okay? Well, what I'm saying is, if you extract just the trichomes, you are still looking at potentially only 25% of gland heads on those trichomes. So whereas you take your herb and you make a bunch of sift, you know, like, oh, here's some right here. You make a bunch of this stuff, right? Single screen. It's not to be respected. You've seen pictures of it. I have it on the garage floor. I have it on the cardboard. I have it in plastic bags. 99% heads would never go to any of those places. But when you learn how the heads can get caught up and hidden in the contaminant, I mean, I could drop a pound of keef on my carpet and it wouldn't make me cringe at all. I would literally probably go put a new vacuum bag on, suck it all up with the vacuum, go empty the bag, and then clean the hash the way I was going to anyway. It was just as bad, in my mind, before it went through the vacuum. It was just as dirty. So when you learn these processes, this particular one is a nice little trick to add into your quiver before you do a full sift, a cleaning and the screening that I've shown on my channel and on different threads and magazine articles that I've done. All right, time for a little glass of water out of the Ruhr glass. I want to thank Martin Bizzle from Ruhr, always up with the gifts. Gave me that probably 15 years ago. Little Bubbleman Ruhr glass. All right, so how this trick works is you want to take single screen sift like this, okay, and basically run it over the top of this screen gently. Now this is what I do. If you were using herb, you could take herb and you would gently bounce the herb over here, and what happens is the heads and the stalks all fall through the top screen. Because of the space, the heads fall like rocks, and the stems, the capitate stalks and the cistillate hairs, fall more feathery. What happens is the majority of them get jammed in the big hole of the screen, and afterwards on the second screen when I lift it, you guys unfortunately won't be able to see too well, but if you were here with the naked eye, you would see literally stigma hairs, capitate stalks, and cistillate hairs like a weird landscape of trees. They're all angled at weird angles. They've all fallen in and gotten stuck. It's very, very gentle. You have to lift that screen so gently. On the second screen, the majority of things that are caught there are probably 50% contaminant and maybe 50% head. So I basically lift up both screens simultaneously after I bounce. And I mean, basically, why don't we just do the tour right here? I'm going to have to cut my head off, but my head is not important right now. So when we're taking single sift screen, what I use this little unit for, okay, this is a 63 mesh, about 250 micron. What I use it for is to break the hash up properly. Right now, it's in rocks, and that's not an ideal way for it to hit these screens. So what I'll do is I'll gently grind the rocks through the screen. These are metal screens, okay? It's okay to use your hand. This is single screen, but there are tools that you can use as well. A plastic type of plunger. Oh, I don't know. Siri's talking to me over in the corner. It's like she just heard me talking and now wants to share a Wikipedia article with me. All right, so once I've broken that up, one sec, I'm going to turn that. Once I've broken that up, I take my brush. You guys see the brush there? And I'll brush the resin that I've broken up through the screen. Yeah, you can see that falling nicely. Now, I'm pretty OCD. I would probably do this right till the end because there's quite a bit of still hash there. Can't really see that well, but there's little chunks and stuff in there. So we'll put that back down on here. As you can see, there's piles of hash everywhere on my table here, as well as this one is completely full of like multiple layers of different grades of hash that I've cleaned. And then once we get to the nicer stuff, you'll end up seeing it as a much nicer color. So let's see what we can do here. What we've done is we've gently sifted this. Barely anything's fallen through. So what I'll do is I'll give it one smack. All right, we can lift both of these up. Probably do this right till the end. Let me just quite a bit still hash. Sorry, Martin, I'm going to mute you. I can hear my voice coming through there. All right. So now what we do is we gather. This pile I already had. this pile right here. All right, so to the naked eye, this won't look like much, but what I can explain to you from a hash connoisseur's perspective is this. There are subtle colors and nuances, but with my microscope, what I've shown you before and what I wish I could show you instantly right now is that, you know, these initial piles that I've left to the side are highly contaminated, probably 50%, which is actually considered low on the contamination scale for sift. If anyone ever gave you 50% head contaminated sift, you would basically be very excited about it and pretty much think it was one of the best sifts that you've ever gotten. The majority of sift is closer to 75% contaminant, and some is upwards of 80 and 90%. So these particular piles that we just made now that's going to be in the 90% range of heads. So I personally would still take that and clean it because I'm obsessive compulsive and I feel that there's really no reason if I don't have to. If I have the ability to get something out and increase the, exponentially increase the potency and the efficiency and the enjoyability of the resin, I find that it's pretty much my duty to do so. So why don't we lift up the screen a little bit, pull out the mothership, and have a rip on that freshly made full melt in the mothership D-nail combo. Ah, very good, very good. All right, I think I'm going to try and unmute some of you guys so we can have some conversation. That was just a little quick hash experience. I haven't read the chat for a bit. I'm reading it now. Horatio will show you what he was vaping out. I think it's a Hitman with a particular type of D-nail. I'm not sure if he... Oh, he's still there.
Yep. It's the old Infinity domeless classic hack.
Oh, no apologies necessary, Martin. Everyone that's come in has done the same thing. Hopefully we can get the mics turned down a bit so I can turn the mics up. It would be nice to be able to hear from some of you guys. All right, Tommy. Perfect. I mean, not perfect, but welcome. Now we know your name. You were no way just yesterday. Tommy is in from Sweden, where if he is caught with cannabis, THC resin in his bloodstream, the molecule, through tests, he loses his job, his license, the whole 9 yards, everything. So he's a frontliner. We feel for him. He's kind of like, as it's getting better in the rest of the world, it's still pretty shitty in parts of the world. So I always feel like the information, part of the information that guys like myself and John and D420K and Horatio and a ton of different people are trying to share is that it's information about this endocannabinoid system and information of the importance of, with what I know now, if I would lived in a country where they told me it was actually illegal for me to feed my endocannabinoid system, something that I currently believe is one of the essential building blocks of life, can keep you healthy and happy, to be able to be kept from that is almost like being kept from breathing clean air or drinking clean water. Like, it seems so absurd that it could be allowed to happen for this long on our planet. I really wish I could hear from you guys. I wish the microphones weren't all so fucked, because I know you guys have things to say, and it would be a way better conversation if you guys were saying it. Like Chris.
Marcus, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Quinn. I can hear you great.
How you doing?
I'm doing very good. Welcome.
The importance of
what I know now.
Idea, or the whole concept, and obviously more research needed on the endocannabinoid system. I think that's the more practical approach to on the political front, is to attack it from that area. I'm in Denver, Colorado, so obviously you know what's going on here.
Absolutely, at the forefront.
There you go. But here's the thing, guys, and I hope I don't offend anyone, but one reason I like Marcus and what he's doing and has done is he's tried to get away from, and correct me if I'm reading you wrong, but he's tried to get away from this kind of stoner image, this slacker, the whole stereotype around cannabis, and especially in America, is that if you talk about using cannabis, of course, again, in context where I live, it's a different situation. But if you leave this bubble and you go somewhere else, in context, if you talk about using cannabis, it's still there's a stigma attached to it that's going to take incredible amounts of people and knowledge and people who are articulate and don't reinforce a stereotype of getting stoned and lying on the couch, you know? And so I appreciate that aspect more than anything, and the idea of the endocannabinoid system and how important that is for our bodies to equalize and to stay healthy. And I'll share something with you that is kind of interesting, I think. I've lost 50 pounds, about 22 kilos, in the last 6 months using using the good old 73 micron ice water extracted hash with bubble bags.
Amazing.
So that I just wanted to throw that out there, and I like this science approach more than Denver's riddled with the stoner culture's spawn here, and it's riddled with that. So I like the more scientific, more academic approach, the more intellectual approach, if you will. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, I appreciate it, Quinn, and I loved everything that you said, and I love the fact that, proving once again with the endocannabinoid system, when we say that it regulates biological function, well, one of the biological functions is when we get hungry and how often we eat. And that one gets out of whack for a lot of people, and I believe that it won't only help people lose weight, but it would help people that are bulimic and the people that have anorexia actually gain weight. We know that through the wasting syndrome, that it's helped aged patients and people with cancer medications, taking away the nausea. It not only takes nausea away, it can increase appetite, but it can also regulate appetite. Not a lot of people will have heard what Quinn just said. People will be like, oh, come on, I get the munchies and I eat so much. It's like, well, you actually have a different endocannabinoid system than Quinn. His relates to his body, and it relates to all the things that he has on point and which are things that are off point, and that's how it does its job. We're all different, and that's, one of the reasons the pharmaceutical companies just irk at the thought of this plant. It will replace literally 90+% of all their medications, because when you realize that all those medications are ways for them to try and manipulate our endocannabinoid systems, which clearly they're not doing a good job on, because have you read the side effects on any of those drugs lately? Anyone? Come on, I know some of you have. Hetty, you're going to have something to say about this. Hetty's husband's been battling cancer for I don't even know how long. How long, Hetty? You there? You're muted. You got to unmute.
Mike has been treating it for since July 31st.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I've been dealing with cancer since '99.
Oh, Mike's been dealing with cancer since '99, but treating it with cannabinoid therapy since July 31st.
So Mike can know the difference. Mike was there in '99 when the cannabinoids weren't being the main drug induced. I'm sure he was probably taking all sorts of things.
Yeah, he's taking all sorts of stuff now.
Yeah, pharmaceutical drugs terrify me. I'm thankful that that people have cannabinoids to fall back on, really, because it is the ultimate fallback, because it's the net that is always there, and it seems to. We're very lucky. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really good, man. I think I'm going to have a bowl right now to say, fuck your cancer. Cannabinoids are going to kill it.
Awesome.
That's my hope. You bet.
Let's all have a puff for Mike.
Bring it on.
All right, 90 micron. Where's Johnny B?
Well, where's Mike going?
He can't stay online.
He can't stay online. No, he's still having issues.
It's so weird that John and Darrin, the two people that I talk to all the time on here, cannot get in right now because I really would like to hear from them. You guys should bring them over to your house.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's full right now.
Yeah, I think so too. I had a hard time getting in.
Oh, Johnny's in the chat though. I got to keep reading the chat because there is a chat going in the YouTube part. It's good. Johnny's holding the chat down and talking to everyone there. That's wonderful. That's awesome. So yeah, it's nice to see. I agree with Quinn in the sense that, you know, for me, I'm not really trying to get away from the stoner stereotype. I'm just not the stoner stereotype. I never have been. I've always been somewhat of an. I guess I used to think I was an anomaly, but really, what I was an anomaly was I was an anomaly against that stereotype. I just didn't fit into it. When I smoke hash, I go faster. My brain goes faster. I can be more focused. I'm able to execute ideas on a level that I just, even through my photography and through the excellence that I try to achieve, is always helped and raised through cannabinoids. I always give them a ton of credit for that. Just they allow me to focus and they allow me to think on a different level. And I feel literally like it's because I'm, you know, not just inhaling and smoking, but consuming it. I believe that the consumption of cannabis and cannabinoids is probably the single most important thing that we explain when we say feed your endocannabinoid system. You're not really going to be feeding it with a bong. I mean, maybe a little bit. You know, you can get that ocular pressure relief. You can get the inspiration through the mind. I mean, there's a good. I'll never want to stop inhaling it. But if we're really talking about getting serious illnesses out of our bodies, cancers, we need to consume high doses of phytocannabinoids. And essential amino acids, which produce endocannabinoids in the body, that's important. I never knew that until probably a few months ago, that endocannabinoids were produced inside the body using the building blocks of life, essential amino acids. GLNAs and GLAs. There's 8 of them that adults require 8 of these essential amino acids, and children require 11. I believe they have 3. You know much about that, Horatio?
Well, I know the natural hemp seed will get us all that.
Yes,
and
100%.
Go with our hash. So essentially, it's paired itself. It wants you to go to seed in one field. It wants you to keep it nice and pristine in another field, and then go to the third field to get the rope to make the pants to wear to do it all. And yeah, that's the balance. You just mentioned it. This is the other half of what I've learned. I can't just smoke or dab my way through it. But then I'm like, well, we don't have to pull up any fish. We don't have to gut anything for oil. We just have to let some flowers go to seed and get the rest of the medicine. So it's a complete plan, and it's a complete journey as humans to understand its potential.
And then even the planting of the crops, the vegetation re-nitrogenizes the soil in a way that most crops, it's unheard of. Exactly. And then even more importantly, it removes through phytoremediation poisonous alkaloids that are in the soil. It can pull out radiation.
That's the aspect that makes it a weed. And when it comes to weeds, their job is soil remediation and cleaning up this earth. So it all sounds like it's in line.
Well, I can't really do it all.
Oh yeah.
One thing I did want to say about the whole subject of going faster and faster, you'll find that as a common sentiment amongst people who seem to smoke all day but succeed in life. I mean, I know I came down from 230 pounds, so I'm 152 on the scale. I don't work out, I don't jog or anything like that, but I've just obviously with the invention of LHO, been more focused. So you could say each dab seems to bring you further to a more balanced life without having to go to the gym and get on a treadmill. My appetite is not for Mr. Noodles, it's just for healthier food. Why? Maybe I was high online reading too much, and that's how I self-corrected my diet.
So you lost 80 pounds?
Absolutely. My family is good.
Wow, you and Quinn. That's awesome, guys. Holy, I mean, come on.
Quinn, don't stop. It works. And you talk about the intellect, you talk about your mind, and that's really it. When you cross over into using cannabis to actually, when you get out of that stone or laziness, which is really just inner discipline, when you cross over and you get your discipline in check, it starts to work better for you, starts to work faster. Now you're too busy. You're too busy to get slugged down by excess of food or the wrong types of food that don't work with your body. And I don't know, you just self-correct. You're not really thinking about it. I eat as much as I think I want. I just don't want. I just want to go back to thinking and working and creating and bringing something into this world. And I think that's why the busybodies seem to be able to dab so hard and get it done.
Yeah. Don't let the naysayers say nay.
Hell yeah, man.
There's Johnny B. John, unmute the mic. Say hello. We muted. Sorry, I had to mute while Horatio was talking.
No, I was trying to log in and Hetty's unmuted us. So how is everybody today? You know, I'm involving and enjoying. I was doing bong rips with you the whole time.
I saw you holding chat down. It was awesome.
Yeah, you know what? It was good to talk to you, but of course I had to run over here to say hi and face.
Dude, right now the YouTube chat, everyone's like, "Oh, Johnny's leaving."
Oh, come back, guys.
I'm like, "No, Johnny's on screen. He's not going anywhere."
I'm not going anywhere. You know.
Oh.
That's awesome. Really nice chat happening this morning. Really inspired by everyone that's in here and sharing their stories and enjoying bowls on hash, hash church. This is.
It was really good.
We will do it lots. So what's puffing by you, Johnny B? 90 micron Kush?
Pretty much.
Excellent.
This is what Mike's been eating too.
Mike's been eating that stuff.
Really, the 90 micron?
Yeah, oh yeah. He actually this morning he had one of Horatio's sativa pills that I got from Mike Mailman.
Thank you.
I actually took one too, Horatio. I took one last night for breakfast, so I just had the sativa one with so that's pretty cool. So I'm testing along with Mike. Everything that Mike consumes, I consume with him because we're both fighting conditions. Mine's pain, his is cancer, and we're gonna do this together. So whatever he eats, I eat too.
Yeah, dude, and I think hyperdosing is a great idea for you guys. You know, eating more than less.
And I figure, like, when you attack cancer, you don't attack it with one guy. You use an army. So that's why we're using Horatio's oil, and we're using dry sift. We're using bubble hash. We're using Richardson oil. He ate 30 grams of shatter over the first month. In the beginning, he wouldn't come over. I had to get him to come over because he was so high the next day. He's like, "I'm still high. It's 4 o'clock, John." I'm like, "Yeah, come on over. Mike's got to eat some more hash." But he's now up, his last dosage was 1.6 grams of 25 micron and 45 micron Kush bubble hash.
Nice. Isn't it great that we can grow? Like, this is macrobiotic medicine. Like, this is I always like to say, we're taking the harm out of pharmaceutical drugs, right? We're taking that pH out, and we're putting the F, the farm, back into pharmaceutical. Let's get the harm out and the farm back in, where you grow your own medicine, literally, that can align and heal your body. You can grow it well. You can literally grow it right out on your own deck, you know?
In your backyard.
Where's he going now?
Mark, he's going to take us out to his deck. Mike's doing his hash shoot right now.
Okay.
Mothers!
Yeah, nice, Mark. I love it.
We love our moms.
In there that I recognize.
Here's Jamaica.
Do you have the Haas there by any chance?
20-year-old seed. Haas?
Yeah.
Yeah, Haas.
That's the one.
Oh, Haas is right here.
Thank you for keeping that lady alive.
Yeah, she's healthy, has lots of nice clones on her. You're welcome to come and get her anytime.
Have to get some.
Here's a special one.
What's that one?
This one is a male Ortega.
Nice.
Yeah.
We should hit that male.
You can do whatever you want with it. I'll give you the pollen when it flowers out, and you can hit whatever you want with it, buddy.
Mike, are those males still out back?
Yes.
Yes, I haven't taken them down yet.
We have some males outside right now. It's actually quite dangerous. They're just outside of the fence here, and everybody's flowering. Told Mike to spray them down with water and cut them down. Yeah. I don't even want to go near them, actually. I just know that they're behind that wall over there in the corner.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of 6-footers outside. They're awesome.
I've got some 10-footers around the corner from it that are flowering, Mike. So we might have some new genetics by the end of October.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
That's funny.
The outdoor Medi Haze is 10 feet tall, and I don't think it will finish, but we're definitely going to do the best we can to wash it with ice and water.
Very nice. Yes, that's the one you want to wash?
Oh, I'm going to wash the watermelon today around 4:20. We're going to cut it down in the backyard because it's got the powdery mildew, and we really just got to get rid of it. So I figure cut it down, ice and water right in the garden, right there. Make it.
You have to be a little different. You'll want to use you'll have to boil your grater after you use it.
Okay.
But what you want to do is before you pull that hash, each bag you'll have to do this, and it'll be great for you to film this because it's never really been filmed, but you'll want to take the hash out. I would get big jars with tape on them and write the micron on each jar and just have a jar for each one. You're only going to do one at a time, obviously, and so you could reuse the same jar, but it causes more confusion, and I'm telling you, having all 7 jars or 6 or whatever you're going to need with the micron written down is good. So scoop out the hash from the screen, throw it into the jar with clear water, and shake it, and then let it settle. Cold water, obviously. It's unfortunate that the resin is going to have to be exposed to water longer than usual, but you need to make sure that there's no mildew, like molecule or whatever you want to call it, like the little bodies. I've photographed them before. Spores, I guess. They're spores. You don't want them to be present on the heads. So you have to wash them by doing this process, letting it settle, scooping anything off the top, pouring that water out a little bit, or replacing it with all clean water. It takes about half an hour for each bag. But then you're ensuring that there's no powdery mildew in there, because if there's nothing afloat on the water, like a slick, that's how it looks on the water on top. It just floats up.
Well, you know what? I'm definitely going to take that. I did a video yesterday of cutting down the one with spider mites that I put outside that was infested, so I cut that all down. I'm going to make hash with that, and if you don't mind, maybe taking a look at if there's anything left in there, would be kind of cool to see. And with the PM, I've been cutting it out, and one I'll leave with PM, and we'll do one batch with that just to make a test so people can see. So, you know, we have what we have, so I'm also do a run of some bud with some PM, and we'll do that little jar method, and maybe I'll bring it to you, and we'll do it together or something like that.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing, Hetty.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike has done amazing since he's gotten off all the pharma over the last year.
Horatio's lost 80 pounds. Quinn lost 50. Mike lost 45. That's like a couple of people right there.
Aaron lost 100.
Aaron lost 130.
I've gained about 10 pounds in the last 6 months, but I'm eating a lot of pizza.
Wait.
Yeah.
What did Chris just say?
130 down. Hetty wrote 130 right there.
Oh yeah, that's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Aaron?
Aaron from Michigan. Yeah, he lost 130 pounds.
Wow.
him.
Okay, I'm getting back on eating more weed. I mean, I haven't been eating as much weed as I should be. I've only been eating like 3 grams a day. When I was eating 10 grams a day, I was losing weight. So, understand, I was consuming roughly 240 milligrams 3 times a day. That was my dosage in the beginning.
I think I have to join you.
Time for a trippy.
Nice job.
Oh,
Time
I
for a
like that
quickie.
little wobbler. I love that little wobbler.
I know it fits on everything.
That's totally amazing. Love that thing.
I'm happy Mark's enjoying it. So,
Thanks, buddy. Little trippy rips.
bomb.
I'm still going at 1 gram.
Go, Hetty.
Time to get serious.
Here is a lady who never smoked weed
Until I was 48.
until she met me.
Yeah, bad mistake.
She now smokes gram joints. She is my neighbor.
She now smokes gram joints.
Yeah. Mike never even knew how to roll a joint before. He now rolls gram joints. That's all he can roll. Mike was also one of those people at the age of... How old, Mike? Oh, by the way, guys, she's a cradle robber. Mike, how old are you?
47.
Mike's 47. He's a little bit younger. And Mike
46.
Mike started consuming cannabis about 2 years ago, too. He now grows his own.
Yeah,
They lead a better quality of life.
love it. I got off of all my pharmaceuticals,
Yeah, I never got on them.
but I never lost any weight.
That.
You
It's
haven't
just
been...
like I never started smoking cigarettes.
No,
I never started
Because
drinking
She just
food.
smokes weed, so she gets the munchies. Once you start consuming it orally, you start losing weight, I think.
Really? Okay.
Is that everybody here who's losing weight or consuming it orally?
It's more about a threshold. It's when you get your tolerance to the point where it stops making you slow and it starts making you fast. And
There.
that seems to be when your mind switches over, and then it seems to be just a side effect. It seems to be when you change that the weight change. So it's internal to how you're living your life. So yeah, when you begin to slow down the carbs and increase your protein and look at consuming more healthy fats as a way to get energy, then that's when it switches over. So yeah, it seems to be a tolerance standpoint. Once I could tolerate anything, then I just got faster and faster and faster. When it was up and down, yeah, I would just have a small joint and then wipe out a pizza. But if I had 3 joints, then I didn't feel like eating.
Wow.
Yeah, agreed. When you're puffing tough, it's not a big, like, let's go wolf food down.
Yeah, you'll Ralph.
Excellent. I feel
So
like I should.
I know what my problem is now. At 11 o'clock at night, I eat pizza.
Yeah, every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Lots of pizza. Oh, what's in there?
Well, it's actually what we call a toolbox of hash.
This is my bubble box, and it is full of varieties and sifts that I've made. I've got my seven-year-old bubble here.
Oh.
Maybe we'll start with that.
Is that all you have?
What's that?
How much of that is left? Is that all you have there?
Yeah,
Sorry, one more time, Chris.
How much of that do you have? Is that all that's left of that stuff?
No, I have like 40 or 50 grams of it.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, even this, I would guess, is probably close to 10 grams, 7 grams, I don't know.
Yeah.
Dark. Can't really see it well in the light. How about under the Pedro Smiley lamp?
What is it, Master Kush?
Yeah, this one is. Oh, God.
It's a wonder if Master Kush is the most stable strain ever. It's produced the most stable LHO I've ever produced, and the only LHO I've ever tried to cure.
Yeah, I believe it, dude.
Altogether. I wonder what it is about that strain.
So I'm doing this as a sample.
I know exactly what it is.
Grape juice, even. Yeah,
Give it
that's
to us.
It's the cannabinoid profile.
I guess I got to look at more tests and see a pattern. Who its parents are, and why when they came
When we have
together. it made
access
that
to
magic.
labs, Horatio, when we have the research and development lab, I mean, did any of you guys see the announcement recently on the United Cannabis's joint venture with Cannabinoid Research and Development, a Jamaican company.
Yep.
Because that Jamaican company, John and I are partners in that company.
Huh.
So that's a project that we started a couple of months ago that we weren't talking about until they started making public announcements. But CRD and United Cannabis, which is out of Colorado, Tony Verzura and Ernie Blackman, the owners of River Rock Wellness Center, awesome guys. So we've announced a bilateral partnership with them out of Jamaica, and we're looking to lease a 30,000 square foot building. We're looking to help find the original lamb's bread and old school sativa strains from Jamaica to preserve them and potentially rebreed and restabilize them.
That's
and then
awesome.
of course do UCAN's full-blown. UCAN has a variety of products, the Prana products that Tony's always posting about, the infusion drinks and the Prana pills, the sublingual drops, the salves, the transdermals. Whole variety of great ways to saturate your endocannabinoid system, because like John was saying earlier, that it's about the quiver, not just eating bubble or dry sift or LHO or whatever. It's about like getting them all in and consuming a variety of profiles as well. I think that it's dangerous to get into this single cannabinoid profile, particularly the CBD craze that we're going through right now. With kind of giving CBD all the credit because THC has been so demonized. It's how now they're sort of almost need to do it without completely just telling the mainstream, look, we lied to you harsh, and because of it, many of you suffered, many of you died, and we also ruined your lives by jailing you, and we're not even sorry about it. They don't really want to say that, so they just say CBD this and CBD that. It's all about CBD. I think it's all about pure plant profiles, and that's sort of our motto at CRD. Pure plant profiles, full plant profiles. Not just
Are you
taking...
going to be able to grow outside there? Are you going to be able to grow fields in Jamaica?
Oh, I'm certain.
That's awesome. And just watch that. That's going to give you guys so much.
Yeah, it's like I'm basically, my position is to build the lab to extract the resin.
Jamaica's going to have awesome hash.
Yeah, dude, I think Jamaica's going to have awesome hash, and I think, if what the ministers released recently, I don't know if you guys read the Jamaican minister, but he made a release. I can read it to you real.
You can do like whatever the fuck you want with whatever you want with hash.
What's that? All right, where does he got here?
You can do anything you want.
Yeah, I will be able to for sure. It should be like that. So what they're saying is they want to produce amendments to the act that Cabinet has approved, provisions for permits to cultivate, possess, import, export, transport, manufacture, sell, and distribute ganja for medical and scientific purposes under license. So that's pretty huge what they're saying they're going to allow people to do. Within a day of Jamaica announcing that, UCAN announced that they've joined forces with us, and you can read about that. Real brief quote from Ernie. I visited Jamaica during my 20-year cultivating medical cannabis and have long championed their decriminalization of marijuana. With that milestone clearly on the horizon, we formed CRD to formally establish our presence in Jamaica and begin preparing an application for a provisional license, so we will be ready to apply the minute submissions are being accepted. Tony Verzura, Chief Technical Officer of United Cannabis, added, "We could not be happier about the news from Jamaica. The variety of strains cultivated here, along with the benefits of the Caribbean environment, provide a wealth of opportunity for discovery and growth. Our 50% ownership in CRD affords us with immediate access to the local resources and insight to the intricacies of the infrastructure, giving us real momentum as we enter the Jamaican market." Myself, Mr. Mark Richardson, Chief Technology Officer of Cannabinoid Research and Development, stated, "I am excited to begin working with Tony and Ernie and the rest of the United Cannabis team. The work they have done in Colorado is on the cutting edge. Not only do they bring in extensive knowledge of the cannabis plant and its properties, but their ability to leverage technology and incorporate systems within the breeding process will be invaluable as we seek to pursue the vast opportunities here in Jamaica. Mr. Richardson went on to say, while marijuana cultivation was deemed illegal during the past 50 years, the unrestrained cultivation by some factions resulted in the degradation of several of Jamaica's original landrace strains. One of the goals of CRD is to help restore the purity of those strains and standardize the breeding process to ensure this does not happen again. So needless to say, Johnny B and I are just a little excited. Correct, Johnny? You're muted. But I can see you smiling. So that's real exciting for us to be able to announce that we've partnered up with United Cannabis and that we have finally released publicly a little bit of our Jamaica project, and there'll be more releases. You won't hear John and I talk about it too much as we're just playing parts in it, and it's best to just let those guys do their big releases each time they want to do a release.
So you don't know when it opens yet?
Well, I know that I'll be going to Jamaica soon to start working.
When should I move to Jamaica?
I'm thinking, well, it depends on if you wanted to get on the ground floor of things happening in Jamaica or if you just wanted to roll in when your buddies have already, like, sorted shit out, you know? For me, I said that, like, a year ago. Jamaica's pretty awesome. Don't you have property there, Horatio?
Yes, I do, in the citrus country in the mountains.
Dude, so you're laughing. You need to go set your shit up. You could potentially get yourself. What's that?
Pretty much go set up and get licensed once there's some licensing criteria to meet.
Yeah, or come talk to United Cannabis and CRD and just see if you can't, you bring your resume and you show up with your gear and you show what you can make, and then it gets tested in the lab, and if it's like, it doesn't take long before they're like, oh, well, great, like, I guess they'll be making an announcement about you one day. That's kind of how it goes. They have other announcements to make. I lost the sound on you. Or are you just yelling?
I got a question, and it's driving me crazy. All right. That big honking new LED that's putting out the sun rays, I'm looking at it. I've been researching it for about 16 hours straight, no sleep. And thinking about Jamaica, thinking about, I'm looking at those lumens, looking at that sun spectrum, and all we care about is the true resin. We're not trying to grow a bunch of leafy pizza boxes to fluff up a bag. So I'm like, how soon and how revolutionary could it be? And I don't really want to grow anything if I'm not growing as close to outside as I can. It's always been something that's bothered me. That's why I never liked HPS. I didn't know it was the ballast and it was the magnetic frequencies from that, but I guess I'm a real sensitive person. I mean, even in dabbling in the solvent world, I'm like, I'm only going to dabble if I can dabble with something that goes as far back with humans as cannabis does. That's why it was limonene or bust. It wasn't really, I'll just go and get some ISO and get back to work. It was, could something so long-standing be of benefit? Basically, is limonene got any negatives? Because that's the only way I could see something being in harmony with cannabis and not damaging stuff. Dabs in that aspect is one thing. But yeah, looking at the Sanjay Gupta, looking at the giant rotovapes going round and round, I'm like, well, if it's got to be in harmony, like the seeds, we got to eat the seeds. It's got to be a solvent that pretty much does what cannabis does, or else I don't want to do it.
Hold on a sec, guys. I'm not going to let you guys out. We're in the room.
Sorry, I muted him because I thought you were going to finish talking, but he can unmute himself.
But yeah, that light.
Dude, what is your what?
Are we in the room?
Released publicly. The light?
Yeah. Have you plugged it in yet?
No, I haven't even plugged it in yet. How terrible am I?
I just want to feel it, and then feel if I feel at home under it. If I
Come over and check it out.
Then it's got a shot.
Dude, Horatio, what is bothering you with your HPS ballast? I have
I was
one like
horseback
right next to my
riding once,
bed.
and we went under electric wires, and the horse's muscles went crazy, and my muscles went crazy, and I'm like, I don't think you guys should live here, and I don't understand, but one day I'll make the links to make it logical, but for now I'm just going to follow my intuition until further notice. And I picked up the same frequencies under, I'm like, this lighting works, but I want medicine, I just don't want results, and I don't know. And maybe I'll know in 20 years, but I'm going to follow my instinct, and it's why I've never really grown. And then I see this light, and I'm like, I feel it now. It might be the time. That's what the hope is. That's why I want to feel the light on my skin.
Yeah, well, the time is definitely, no matter how good that light is, you're still going to want to go to Jamaica and sort that property.
Well, I mean, I'm doing my best. I tried to precursor this, decriminalization by a couple of years. Just, maybe a little bush stuff, but nothing on record.
You should look into, what the heck are the names of the ballasts I have? Those big, like the big ones, I'm also sensitive to the frequencies those things give off. Those things they give me a headache, actually.
Well, that pretty much give me a seizure.
Yeah, I believe it, man. They're fucked up. But I got these, Nanolux. I got the Nanolux ones. They're like they're the size of a small book. So
Yeah.
they don't have that big magnet in there.
Yeah.
They're pretty small, and they have an intake and an outtake fan on them, so they keep their temperature way down.
Well, I think it's just pretty much stand in front of it. If I put it against my chest and I don't feel weaker, I feel stronger, it's a go. That's kind of the way I live it. I put it against my lymphatic system and wait for a response.
So I've taken 2 of Horatio's sativa caps this morning. It's 12:13, and I think I'm feeling it a little bit right now.
It's starting to come on, wash over you.
I'm just curious. How are you doing, Mike?
No, I'm feeling it.
Yeah, Mike took 1. I took 2.
Mike, you took 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
I took 2.
Okay. Mikey, did you take them to the choline this morning?
I'm actually honest with the choline.
Hey, welcome, Darrin.
So Horatio, good job on those ones. We did have.
Hey, Mark.
We're gonna need some more. Darrin.
You got in,
Hello, everybody.
He was probably going like me, trying to get in.
It's got to be in harmony, like.
So what's going on, D?
Oh, just finally in the link. Fuck.
That's awesome, dude. It
Now that
felt
I've
so
dabbed
weird to
up,
have
fuck, I had about
John.
maybe a good 10 reps. I know. And I was
oil?
watching everything, and I could hear everything, and I was just like, I want in, man. I want to see my buddies. I want to talk to all these cool people and all that. Fuck.
Well, you're in now, buddy. You're in now. We've been chatting
What are you smoking, man?
an hour and 15 minutes. We've got 182 viewers. I'm not sure if all of them are in the chat, but I guess we could let them ask any questions they have for anyone in the chat, really. But if you do have a specific person in mind, comment direct to them in the YouTube chat. Here's a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
H leads. Oh, it was a personal question. Sorry. Go on, Darrin.
On your cell phone, get in on your cell phone if you can't get in on this video, because then you can have a room going, and you will be able to communicate anyways.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point that out because I was in a room with a couple of guys.
Yeah, the problem with the cell phones is that they come in with a super loud microphone and they cause super reverberation every time someone talks. So you can come in with the cell phone, but generally you'll get muted pretty quick.
Yeah.
So hey guys, with the Washington's 502, the legalization in Washington, like I said earlier, I'm in Denver. It was really interesting to me that law, that amendment, if you look at these two, ours was Amendment 64, theirs was 502. If you look at 64 here in Colorado, and if you read that, it makes very clear that everyone is allowed to legally grow 6 plants per adult in the household. So I think that's probably the most important aspect of that amendment. And my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding, 502 says absolutely not. You can't cultivate at home. Is that true?
You can't cultivate at home where? In Washington?
Correct.
I'm not too sure. I wish Mike West was in here from Green Lion. He's down there. He operates CO2 machines and is a wholesaler to dispensaries. Real smart guy. Introduced to him via Robert Takata. Great guys. They got their head screwed on tight, and they have a lot more knowledge about what's going on down there than I for sure do. I'm up in Canada. I know that we have federal laws. We can consume it if we have our licenses. We can possess it, consume it, grow it. But they've stopped that, and now all of it's in court doing an injunction. There's 40,000 of us that have federal licenses to grow cannabis. But now it's in court, and our government's kind of saying, no, now just get a prescription from your doctor and order it like you do anything else. And everyone's kind of like, no, we really kind of still want to be able to grow it. I think they should just let anyone who wants to in Canada grow it, because at least 90% of those people will realize that A, it's hard, B, time-consuming, and C, to grow yourself the amount of resin that you would require to heal yourself of a bad disease is not easy. I personally grow less than a gram of resin per day consumption right now, and that's mute Canna again because I don't want to hear my voice reverberating through his microphone. Sorry, Canna. It's hard to grow enough resin for yourself is what I'm saying. I have a 98 plant license because I like to keep mothers. There's about 30 mothers. I want to have variety. So that gives me 70 plants that I can actually bloom. And because I have a small area, I only bloom maybe 20 plants at a time. A couple of tents, maybe a few outside. It's hard to grow enough resin just for myself to consume orally and through inhalation.
That's interesting. What is it? Is there a solution to that, or what is your?
Well, the solution is this, Quinn. We shouldn't fall victim to low numbers, like when they're like, well, we'll just let everyone grow like half a dozen plants. Really, that's completely unacceptable. It's like saying you're allowed to have 30 milliliters of water per day or something. It's just like, no, we need to have full access to water. We need to have full access to.
Let me clarify here. I'm a red card holder. I'm a medical card holder here as well. So on the recreational side of things, each person can grow 6 plants. But on the medical side of things, you can get an increased plant count and go up into the, you can tell them I use hash as medicine and it takes X amount to get an amount of hash that I make, and they'll increase your plant count. So you can get those increased by law. But I agree. And if they've taken that, if 502 doesn't have or doesn't allow cultivation at home, which I believe it doesn't, it's a very it's a dangerous situation in my mind in the sense of prohibition and in the sense of really making this stuff work.
For sure. No, it is well said. I was just answering a couple of questions in the chat room. Trying to keep, I don't know how many people we have in this chat room, maybe 100 plus, and they're all sort of kind of interacting with us. I guess the people in here probably don't also have the YouTube chat open, but you should, because some of the people are asking us questions. They can hear us talking, and there's quite a few of them in there.
The situation in my mind in the sense of prohibition and in the sense of really making this stuff work.
The prohibition of what? Sure. No.
It is well said. He's just answering a couple of questions in the chat room. Oh, he's coming through. Sorry, I'll mic you. I can hear my voice coming through. YouTube chat, 173. Well, yeah, it shows 175 in here right now. So that's pretty cool. We got 175 people, probably from mostly North America, maybe some Europe, maybe all around the world. Okay, so now Sai Khan wants to know why more about the saturation of the endocannabinoid system is so important rather than small, moderate doses. All right, well, I would go mostly through my own bioassay as well as knowledge that I've learned from secondhand, i.e. people telling me about things that they did in regards to curing their diseases. From what I know about all the people I've met that have cured cancer, which is a big one, they've hyperdosed. They've just used a lot because there's no dosage. There's no telling you how much to use. You don't know for sure if it's even working. So of course they're all, when Richardson was putting the oil on his nose, he was putting a lot, like more than any person would put, like, of cream or whatever. You know what I mean? What do you think about that, Horatio?
He was putting a lot more. That's pretty much why you can't give a person a plant count, because that person may, suck and need a sea of green, and another person could be gifted and make one plant all they need. And just thinking about other people who, one dab will kill them, they have different needs. It's like a different type of beast. So my wife can get her gallbladder solved in a single dab. And you see that miracle and you realize, okay, she's never going to build that tolerance. That's a different type of fish, and I can respect that. It's when you don't know you could be catalyzed into a more energetic, dynamic person. So each person's got to find their own plot point. Some people have got to learn to discipline to work through getting wigged out and actually, getting some guts to life. And with that, it does get better. And other people, they just need one hit. And the medicine goes a lot further. It all depends on what you need to relieve your suffering. And that's what cannabis is here for.
That's it. And when I'm talking about hyperdosing, I mean, like, if I find out tomorrow I have pancreatic cancer, I can't rub salve on my pancreas. I'm going to rub shit on my skin, on my epidermis. I'm going to be taking patches and salves. I'm going to be eating edibles. I'm going to be consuming my coconut oil. I'm going to be using hash and infused products. It's not like too much of them cause a problem. And I'm sure, the science in the next 5 to 10 years will learn so much about more than just CB1 and CB2 receptors. Potentially we have a whole variety of receptors throughout our body that they just haven't figured out how to discover.
Well, that's like unlocking classical strains. That when bred with classical strains, there was a lot that didn't get done during the 70s and 80s when it came to breeding. And when I think about my wife, I'm like, no, she just needs that catatonic times that heoma to mask it to allow more through, and that's also another thing the plant will do. So those low tolerance people are just looking for a different constitution of cannabis than us high tolerance people, but that doesn't limit how much your endocannabinoid system can take in, just how much you psychologically can tolerate. So again, that's still go for it. It's just you got to find your constitutional match.
But would you try to cure like a pancreatic cancer or put into remission of that cancer by dabbing, or do you think you would probably consume oral cannabis?
LHO was invented for consumption. Dabbing was a phenomenal, oh my God, I can't believe I made something relevant to the young people. But I started with people a man who asked, can you make this into a suppository? And I had to go to the pharmacy and ask, how do you package it? This guy is dying and he's begging. He's like, I know this is the route to get to my prostate, and I want a suppository. I don't even want to swallow it. And I'm like, he knows what he needs, and nobody who's dabbing is thinking about this. I got to go to a pharmacist.
Yeah, for sure.
That's real suffering. So
yeah,
that's the primary cause. Dabbing, and that is more our recreational lifestyle.
but
Effective for the fast people, but critical illness is always a matter of oversaturation. If you can deal in something without side effects, so it's going to be natural.
Of course.
If you want to give somebody 1,000 milligrams of BHO cooked down, you better make the perfect BHO because you're concentrating a lot of stuff. That's why if anything goes wrong, I know limonene in its worst condition is a vitamin dose. So anybody who follows me could only do as much harm as drugging people with vitamins accidentally. That's kind of why I chose this route. So there is no human error other than bad taste.
Yeah.
I lost track of the question.
The question was why saturate the endocannabinoid system rather than take small doses?
Oh, okay. So I was just curious. I forgot.
No problem.
I just say, consume as much cannabis as you can possible. It's going to make you feel like you're fighting whatever condition you're fighting. When it gives you the relief for the symptoms that you're suffering from, or if it just makes you feel better.
Yeah.
And it can't hurt you.
Oh, it can. Believe me, I've been there. I've seen the tunnel. I've ate enough cannabis where it's made me feel so paranoid, and I've sat in a corner and thought the world was caving in on me.
Yeah, but it still didn't hurt you really.
Do anything to you.
No, it didn't do anything to me. It just freaked the shit out of me. And I think.
Yeah, but that's what we're saying. There's no
That's
real.
the whole point. It's not going to really hurt you.
Oh no! Look at me. I'm doing pretty good.
Who's banging the glasses? I just gotta ask.
I'm sorry. That would be Mike doing dishes behind us.
All right. Well, I'm gonna put you guys on mute for a bit. Sorry, guys. I just can't do it. I gotta be strict because we're recording this. And that I am a bit of a, I can't put up with it. Anyone else want to say something while not banging glasses in the background? Anyone? They're all afraid now. Bubbleman's mean.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Hi, Bubbleman.
How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
You as well. Is this Canna?
Yeah, it's Canna medication.
Excellent. Where are you from?
New Brunswick. Moncton, New Brunswick.
Oh, someone was asking a question about New Brunswick today about growing outdoor weed there.
Yeah, there's some people growing some, I guess.
It's great because we're. Oops.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's some growing around, but medical license here is not as much as BC. That's for sure.
No, I know. We have the majority of them. I think 30,000 or 25,000 of the 40,000.
Exactly. Here it's very conservative living area people. You know, we're like, I would say like at least 10 years behind BC, if it's not more. And people are very close-minded when it comes to cannabis or any kind of use of cannabis because they are not being educated.
Right.
What cannabis could do and why people are using it and things like that, you know. So it's very difficult.
Well, you know, you have a quiver of knowledge and information available to you through the Facebook group, the Endocannabinoid System, as well as even just Googling YouTube for the videos that most of them have been posted in that Facebook group. But you read a lot of the articles and the scientific studies that are being done and the bioassays that people are blogging about their own personal uses and experiences. And it's pretty powerful. Social media is really allowing it to all happen. It's I was telling the gentleman from Sweden who was in here, I think he's still here, Tommy, there he is, frontliner. It's really bad in Sweden to the point where they'll take your blood and then, you know, like test you for THC and stuff. So this is bad.
It is.
What I was telling Tommy was that you have this information available to you, that your best bet is to teach people about their endocannabinoid systems, to teach people sort of the science and the logic behind it, to get a doctor behind you ASAP who also will be amazed at learning about this, because if you've taken the Hippocratic Oath and you're a doctor and you learn about the endocannabinoid system, you are seriously pretty stoked. And then you get, you start helping some kids, because they're the ones that need the help first and foremost. And you just, you know, for sure, New Brunswick has kids with, you have a cancer ward, and you have epileptic children, and all those kids can be helped, of course, via the consumption of phytocannabinoids.
Exactly. People got to understand that cannabis is not only to get high and being like a peace and love that you know, sit in the corner not doing nothing. Cannabis is for medical purpose. Is very, very efficient for me anyway, because I'm suffering for advanced arthritis, and also I developed a high problem. And right now, my arthritis, since I smoke or consume my cannabis every day, I don't feel no pain at all. The pain is there. You always have the pain is always there, but your brain is not concentrate on the pain. Your brain is kind of like not focusing only on the pain, so your pain is not as big and you don't feel it as much. Now here, that's for sure, there's a lot of work to do, and that's why I have started a community that is called cannamedication.com, and over there I'm trying to build groups of people that where we're going to have a community that's going to share information about cannabis used for medical purpose, how to grow it, how to ingest it, how to extract, how to do all of this, so people could share together the best way to do it. And also I want to connect, at the long run, I want to connect people with resource like doctors, things like that, open mind people where they could guide you through channel of getting your license easier or getting a prescription easier.
Awesome. That all sounds great, Canna. Are you hearing this, Tommy? Canna's got it going on. Like, he's just doing exactly what he needs to be doing. He's a user of cannabis for his own pain, so we know that his foundation and where he's coming from is right off the bat solid and proper. I'm inspired by you, Canna. I hope that I can offer any help that I can to my friends out in New Brunswick with any of the of information or whatever I can offer, you know?
Well, I really appreciate your offer, and actually I've been watching your video for a long while now, and I really love what you do. And the fact that also you're a connected person with nature and animal. I watched some video that with your little dog and you in the boat, and you mentioned that you really love your dog, and all of this touching me very hard because I'm exactly like that myself.
Nice. Yeah, well, you know, that's what YouTube's cool for. I see, like, when I pulled this sort of Bubbleman's world out, at first it was contained, and I was like, I'll just show them this aspect, and then it started being like, well, I did name it Bubbleman's world, like, maybe we could go do this stuff. And because at first I thought if I went out on my boat, people would be like, oh, Bubbleman, why don't you go buy another boat, you rich prick? And I thought, because YouTube's so negative. Then I thought, well, I want to take my friends out on the boat, and I want to make hash with Johnny B on the boat, and I want to fucking take Flav with his, like, you know, like.
And when you do that, you're not only doing this, you're taking all of us with you.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We are there with you. We are traveling in that boat with you in the water, and we are following you everywhere on bikes and stuff like that. It's amazing.
That is literally just stuff that I do on a daily basis, so it made sense that I would share it and expand it. And
it's a dream life. I call that a dream life.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't feel that I'm, like, really, I think that it's available to anyone, because how I manifested it was through I mean, I come from Winnipeg. I came here to BC with less than $6,000 in my pocket. You know, I never had any help. I never had, like, a rich family or a bunch of friends that I could come. When I came to BC, I didn't know anyone. I started it on my own, and I built it up, and I created this little sort of, you know, my little piece inside the scene, and then now expanding it has been the greatest thing I've ever been allowed to do. And thanks to Johnny B for walking me hand in hand, like literally to the doctor's office, and helping me get my license. I was just like, he's like, why don't you have a license? And it was like Johnny B and I have this unique relationship where I showed him, you know, here, you need to step up your game and make incredible hash because I know your quality's there. And boom, he just does it. And then he's like, oh, and hey, I'm going to get you a license. And boom, and then all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, we're just like, we should do a bunch of fun videos and show people This is just shit that we do on a daily basis.
Exactly. It's a good way to educate people. Like Johnny B say all the time, you know. I watch his video all the time, the same thing, and he's all about educating people, because we have that bad mentality of thinking that marijuana or cannabis is evil and is not good, and it's you're gonna be no good in the society because you consume it. Like it's that bad mentality that we have to change. That we have.
That's just propaganda. That's like, to me, literally, that's like Nazi propaganda against Jewish people or something. It's just so absurd and ridiculous that I can't be any part of it. It doesn't even exist. I mean, it used to exist more in my mind when they used to arrest me and then put handcuffs on me and send me to jail. Exactly. There we go. Star David, Quinn. So yeah, you know, like, it's just an absurdity to think that they could do this to us over a plant.
And the worst is our government right now is not helping in any kind of way of
yeah, we have like the worst government in the world right now. It's just terrible. It's just like absolutely a super bummer. What can you say about Stephen Harper? Except
he's a dictator. Basically, he's a dictator that wants to run it his way and no way otherwise.
I think he's as bad as George Bush Jr.
Oh, I think he's worse.
Go ahead.
I think he's worse.
I underestimate George W.
I think he really thinks he is important through the other countries, the little cliques of running the whole world. You know what I mean?
Trust me, I know what you mean. I'm one of those kind of slightly crazy people. I don't really have full belief in it, but I think when I picture a guy like that, I think, you know, for sure that guy's, I mean, that's a different level of evil. It's not just like, oh, he's a bad guy. It's like, no, like, he potentially consumes fetuses, and he potentially, you know, like, it sounds insane, but, like, I believe that there's a level of evilness in the world, like the Queen and all the way down. It's like, how do you acquire power like that other than just
acquiring the power is one thing, but how can you keep it that long and not lose it?
Yeah, but for thousands of years, not just for like 3 or 6 years in the political, like for thousands of years.
Exactly.
People think it's all like you just follow it back, and it's like, wow, like these people, whoever they be, have been controlling things for a long time. Not to go off on an insane conspiracy rant or anything, because I don't feel myself as a conspiracist, but I definitely know that there's evil in the world.
But we all know it's not normal.
Bad guy. It's like, no, like, welcome, Daniel. We're muting you because your mic's doing a little bit of back, but you can type in there, and if you do have something to say, you can just unmute yourself, and we will mute ourselves.
But I would like also to organize one day, I really love to organize a cup in Moncton, in Atlantic Province. There's nothing that ever have been done here that kind of way.
Did you say a cup?
Yeah, organizing, like they have the Prairie Cup on the weekend there.
Yeah.
Something like that here in Moncton. So all the Atlantic Province, and we can invite people from BC and all, and Quebec and all around, you know what I mean?
Do you want a big tip on how to do that?
Yes.
When you have it, don't have it the way normal people have cups, because the unfortunate part is that all the medicine is enjoyed to a degree, but not the same level that it could be. If you did a medical cup towards growers, and they grew and entered, and then you allowed different medical patients to apply to be judges, and not charge them a bunch of money, but to allow a real, true bioassay from a medical standpoint, not in a recreational enjoyment one. And I think it would do good for you guys out in New Brunswick to get your foot in the door that way, over them coming in with news cameras and seeing a bunch of kind of semi-teenager guys with blowtorches and rigs in their hands doing this. You know what I'm saying? Quinn gets it.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of patients in there, and they're just like, we're trying, you know, like some of them are eating it, some of them are making teas, and others are learning how to do extractions. Like, people that are good at making extractions show up and be like, oh, well, I'll help you extract the resin off that if you want to consume it a different way. You can have a variety of things that incorporate education and real learning along with actual medicinal use of cannabinoids. And to me, that's the cup that would stand out in my mind.
Exactly, you're right. And instead of financing your cup with the judges that's going to pay a big amount of money to test your stuff, you go out and you get some companies that wants to promote like commercial suppliers,
Yes.
equipment suppliers,
Exactly.
all those people to finance your thing.
That's right. You got it. You nailed it. There it is, in a nutshell. And now the hard part is figuring out your patients, figuring out the different kind of ailments you want to cover, and then figuring out it won't be a standard cup where you might get together for 3 days. It might be like a 2-day thing where the smoking aspect could be covered overnight the next day, but the actual edible aspect of it, those judges may require to get those meds 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month in advance. So
Yeah.
I'd also charge the growers large.
Exactly. And you have conference of people like you, inviting people like you that could have a speech and explain things about marijuana and cannabis, you know, like Johnny B, and having something really great. But I'm on something that's for sure. It's just a matter of time. I'm putting things together slowly, but we'll get there.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds good, man. I look forward to hearing about the New Brunswick Cup.
I'll keep in contact with you. I'm going to be one of your supplier, or my store is going to sell some of your product.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, I'm going to sell your bubble bags and everything that you have available.
I mean, the tools make sense to have. In my opinion, they're just a part of the education. I think the photography is important to have access to when you're educating. Doesn't mean you have to learn how to do macro photography. It just means you need to access some of my photos, or someone like me who takes photos along this quality. There's a handful of us out there. And access those photos to print and create a little binder, so when you're doing your education, you're able to explain that, you know, this is the plant, and then this is the plant bud, and then this is more of a distant, and now we've extracted the resin off of it. Like, people need to be educated, and it seems like the photos are a big part of it.
They are. Photo talks for themselves, eh?
Yeah, and then of course the tools are key, because why would you teach someone a bunch of information and then not let them know where they could get the tools to actually do the work?
I think that one of the way would be to start in Moncton would be to open a smoking lounge, a vaporizing lounge, to gather people together first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people are everywhere and not connected properly.
Yeah, you do need a vapor lounge, absolutely. I know that Bill Vandergraaf operates or helps or works with the one in Winnipeg. He's actually an ex-Winnipeg police officer. So if you could find someone like that out in New Brunswick, an ex-cop who, you know, has a sick child or something who's found...
Yeah, exactly.
It's unfortunately that way for the police. They just don't see it as a strong enough thing until it's really a sick child. No one can deny a sick child and the sort of...
Until it touch one of them.
What's that?
Until it touch one of them.
Yeah, until it touches you through that channel in particular, you know. Even if, I mean, you can have a brother-in-law or a relative, you're a cop, and you have a relative that's all pro-cannabis, you still won't really get it the way you'll get it if your child gets sick.
Opening a vaporizing lounge would be simple, and you would restrict that only to medical user and with license and things like that, you know. And that would be like the start of gathering the community together to organize more events and things, because then people would get to know each other more, and you would join more people to the group at the same time, you know.
You representing Cali, Martin?
Yes.
Awesome.
San Diego, California.
San Diego, home of the Bull Rider.
San Diego, wow. Nice.
Yes.
That is where the Bull Rider cut came up to British Columbia, and it was given to Jeff Tech via Raz, a longtime friend, and then he crossed it with an Afghani, and it became a very popular strain for a local cannabis activist, Michelle. who ended up, Michelle Rainey, she passed away of cancer not long after Mark Emery and Greg Williams and herself were arrested as the BC3 in the seed DEA fiasco that Mark Emery just finished serving 5 years. A lot of people said, why would Mark sell out like that? Mark knew that his friend Michelle would die in a U.S. prison if she went to prison, and he was happy to take one for the team. They supported him, he supported them. Good on you, Mark. Glad to have you back.
Glad that Mark's back.
Rolling joints. Won't fill in vapor chambers.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a little session of vaporizing here. As you know, in New Brunswick, we're not allowed to have extract any already, like you guys, you know.
Alors, vous êtes français?
Oui.
Beaucoup de personnes là parlent français?
Oui, ici, à Moncton, il n'y a pas beaucoup de Français, mais moi, je suis originaire d'Edmundston. Edmundston est plus dans le nord.
Ouais.
More up north, and there's more French people up north of the province. But here, there's more English people. It's majority English here.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I've never actually been to New Brunswick. The Maritimes, I hear, are just absolutely beautiful. I have good friends who go out once a year, and they spend a month out there. They're from New Brunswick. The wife is of the two, and they just they're going to get me out there one year.
Actually, it's a beautiful place. We have the ocean like you guys.
Yep.
Here it's the Atlantic Ocean, and it's very hot in the summer, and but the season doesn't last too long in the summer. You know, it's like you guys start to be cold like you guys right now. But it's a beautiful place. It's just that it's very conservative. Mentality are very conservative people. So now we're going to have a little vaporizing session.
Excellent.
And I'm using the Q.
The Aristec?
They call it the Q vaporizer.
Oh, the Q. All right. Can't keep up, can I? I try.
It's electronic. You can adjust the heat and everything, and the fan on it. I modified the chamber. I use a different kind of chamber because it vaporizes better. And it's hooked to water pipe, kind of mason jar water pipe. It works very good. And I'm using 818 headband OG Kush right now.
Hey, Canna, check this out.
Go ahead.
All right, this has been a very good chat so far. We started at 11, and we're almost at 1 o'clock. Not too shabby. I think I'll probably keep it going until 1:30. Try to answer more questions because people are asking questions. I got asked, one person asked me what I thought of Artisan and the strain hunters traveling around to all these cool spots and planting their particular strains. I can't, say that I know for a fact that that's what he's doing. I've seen the videos. I'm not sure how many of his seeds are getting replaced. It's always nice to trade and share seeds. At the same time, it's always nice to educate everywhere you go, particularly to the owners of particular strains, genetics, the gardeners, the keepers of, not the owners. But you would want to educate them and let them know that what they have is of extreme value and that landrace strains hold genetic traits that are literally non-existent in hybridized cannabis strains. They've been bred right out, and it's why a lot of these hybridized strains suffer from bugs and from molds and mildews because, of course, they've the traits that they were removing, took along with them these abilities to defend themselves against certain ailments. So I'm a big promoter of landrace strains. I still say it's nice to share genetics, but not at the expense of going in and wiping out a culture's strain base. I would want them to hold dear whatever they hold, India and Cambodia and Venezuela and countries in Africa and all around the world. they have landrace genetics that right now in the prohibition model of cannabis aren't looked at as a real value. So the only real way those strains are being preserved is through people's actual love of cannabis and that particular profile. It's usually found in elders, I've found, particularly in Jamaica. There's not a lot of young guys walking around with like, I got this super old school lamb's bread strain. It's like, no, it's like a super old dude, Rastafarian, like Nyabingi, living in the hills, and he's got his couple of strains that he's kept for the last 30 or 40 years. He just grows a couple of trees or whatever. And those are the strains that I am most excited to preserve and help protect.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Jamaica is finally opening up commercial, eh?
Well, they're looking to do it. You know, they've made all the right announcements, and now it's just a matter of them to release licenses. I'm sure there's a lot of groups out there. My company, our company, is one group of many that are trying to align themselves into a position, and it'll just be a matter of seeing, you know, which group brought the best sort of presentation to the table to, you know, the best. Are you there to like take advantage of? Are you there to take the money out of Jamaica? Or are you there consciously with like solid, amazing information that's going to translate to jobs for Jamaicans and help and ganja being freed up in Jamaica above all else before it gets, you know, exported to the rest of the world? It's important that legal ganja in Jamaica is first and foremost good for Jamaican people. First and foremost for the Rastafarian culture, who's promoted it since the beginning of their belief systems, through the reggae artists who promote the views of Rastafarianism through their music, who promoted ganja, who've been persecuted, who've been jailed, who've been beaten. They deserve something good out of all of this, for certain. They deserve to be acknowledged.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's the best thing that can never happen to the whole world of legalizing cannabis everywhere. The economy, the only thing that cannabis could do to the economy can only be good.
Of course, and the people. You know, the worst thing about cannabis prohibition, you know, by far, is prohibition.
Exactly.
Like
prohibition costs money, doesn't bring money.
Tell you, well, it costs us money. It makes them money.
Exactly.
And more importantly, it controls the importance of, you know, I'm convinced of it that it also works in their favor, almost the way Hitler, when he decided, Hitler was very esoteric. He believed in the esoteric. When he took the swastika from the Tibetan culture, multi-thousand-year-old symbol, and inverted it, he knew he was taking all of that good prayer and inverting it for the negative. That's a belief for sure. You can read up about that sick, twisted fuck. And anyway, to move on from that, it's like we need to acknowledge the good in cannabis.
I always found it interesting. The media tends to look at what we've done here in Colorado and now Washington, and they call this the experiment, right? And I've always considered it exactly the opposite. This isn't the experiment. The experiment was the war on drugs that didn't work. That's the experiment, right? So what we're doing is the more natural thing. And, you know, people, Colorado is very progressive. I mean, this is a very progressive place, right? Denver proper, the metro area. But it's really just kind of the natural thing to do. It's not an experiment. It's what should be. We should have it happening everywhere, and of course eventually we will, but I just thought it was interesting how they say this is the experiment, and I consider the exact opposite, that the war on drugs was the experiment.
Yeah.
I got on, guys. I appreciate you having me in, and I really had fun, and I hope to see you again next time.
Hey, good talking to you, Quinn. Thanks for coming in and sharing your stories with us, and I'm sure we'll be doing Hash Church next Sunday again, so maybe we'll see you then. I'm going to elaborate on one more thing that I was talking about. I kind of lost my train there, but what I was thinking was that, you know, the way they took the incredible vibration of smoking a joint or getting high on cannabis, and they turned it into this paranoid, feared out. It almost seems as though fear is of value to them. And fear is something that they harvest. I don't know if they harvest it like heroin, but they seem to love it, whoever the people are that seem to want to control and jail and torture and kill. They seem to be pretty much, you know, I always like to go back, at least metaphorically, of that sort of the crazy David Icke fourth dimensional, what does he call them, reptilians. Now, I personally don't believe in fourth dimension reptilians, but I love the metaphor of something like that existing, something that like an energy that is evil that exists to harvest the fear of humans, controlling the human controllers. It's pretty fucked up thought. These are the thoughts I have when I'm vaping.
They are not fucked up in thought because I got the same most of the time too. So I think, and there's a lot of thousands of people that has the same as you and I do.
Yeah, but think about it. They take a medicinal thing like cannabis that's just supposed to relax you and enhance and make everything beautiful, and they're like, we'll create prohibition, and then we'll harvest even more fear from the pot smokers. It'll be great.
You see, the cannabis open up your pineal gland. You have a pineal gland in your brain, and the pineal gland is where you channel with any energy, and you communicate, and you get message and things like that, which is, we only control a little percentage of that because we don't understand it. But anyway, the pineal gland is where everything is connected. And when you smoke cannabis, it opens up that pineal gland even more, so that energy, you have visions, or you have more thinking and a deeper thought about things. You analyze things way better. There's a lot of reason. And that's one of the reasons I would say that it is illegal, and it keeps continuing to be illegal, because it keeps people in a way they can't open their mind, and they cannot be wanted to be free, or they still want to be controlled if they fear. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. Fear does seem to be the big motivator.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying fear seems to be the big motivator. It seems to be the big
fear feeds the government to spend more money on building jails.
Sure. The problem, reaction, solution mentality, which, of course, to bring up David Icke once more, that's his thing, the problem, reaction, solution. He talks about, he shows you throughout history how often they've used this particular means of control. 9/11, 9/11, that was, of course, the big one, where they really literally created this massive problem that, you know, we all saw and affected our psyches consciously and subconsciously on a multitude of levels through the media and through the personal experiences of so many people, 3,000 plus people dying in those buildings. I'm sure I knew people that were in that building. You know, it was a very small, sort of close to home thing, and it affected our psyches, and then everyone was like, okay, let's give all our rights away, like let's let them pass the Patriot Act, and let's let them, you know, do all these things that will absolutely strip.
It was the key to open the bank so the money could be spent on the army, the police, the surveillance, watching more people, having control even more over people.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
It is. It's a well-engineered system. They are not dummy, that's for sure.
They certainly aren't, but I have a strong feeling that cannabis can take that system down.
Well, actually, if we continue doing what we do, most of the people, pushing for it to be legalized.
That seems a bit much.
Sorry?
I was just saying I'm not sure if cannabis could 100% defeat evil. That would be awesome, but I think action is what we need. We need a motivated youth.
Yep.
And exactly. Well, cannabis could help because actually evil is negative. And when you're stressed, you're negative. If all the society works all day long and they are stressed all day long, they are negative. They are stressed, so they beep the horn when they move with the car and all of this, and it's very stressful.
Totally.
When you're smoking, you're relaxed. You're completely relaxed. You're open mind to anything. You're more relaxed with people, more calm. You'll take more shit before you explode. So yes, it could bring, cannabis could bring to a more peaceful world.
I see what you mean there. That's definitely, I agree with that. You know, it definitely, the stress is what's so inherent in our lifestyles these days. I really feel like we bring young people into the world and we just bombard them with stress. They don't know how to deal with it. And, you know, cannabis is definitely way better than alcohol.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't even believe they're ever compared. It's like insane.
You can't compare. It's a poison compared to a way to relieve your stress and everything naturally.
Yeah, it'll be the day that we stop comparing alcohol and cannabis will be a happy day for me, because people constantly, you know, oh, it's way safer than alcohol. It's like, well, yeah, it's way safer than Russian roulette too. Like,
I'm sure Harper has
safer than water.
wine that is worth about $300 or $400 every night. You may have a couple of them actually.
it's like we know this, right? Water flushes the liver, and alcohol gives the liver cirrhosis.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick with water.
But yeah, well, we'll continue doing what we do, all of us, and I think it's gonna get there.
Absolutely.
They cannot. After a while, you know, the generation are growing up, and the next generation that is even more open and more powerful will come one day in power, and that generation will just figure it on.
You know, that was
I
my
still
hope
think it's
when I was a
important
child, but it didn't work out that way.
What's that, Daniel?
I said that was my hopes as well too, that this certain generation, you know, would be phased out by the time we grew up or whatever. And it's just not happening to that because, you know, the negativity is just phased down from generation to generation.
Well, plus we refuse to grow up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's a long-term battle for sure. It's generational. But I'm telling you, man, our grandkids' kids, they're gonna be like, you made plants illegal? They're gonna think we're insane. You know,
Yeah.
same thing with when they realize you killed how many animals for whatever. They're gonna be like, whoa, people were nuts.
Well, I mean, we're three generations into prohibition already, right?
We're easily led astray. That's what I'll say about people. We are easily led astray.
Yep. Sadly.
Because we operate on a belief system. And if you operate on a belief system, then all someone has to do is learn how to manipulate that belief system, and you can be controlled through your belief system. This is why the belief system is generally the anchor of mankind model. It's not really a model for free thinking.
Oh,
Would you
absolutely
agree,
not.
Horatio?
Well, I mean, even free thinking is a model, but yeah, I mean, you've got a percentage of people, whether it's high or low, just depends on the country, that if you can create a belief system or manipulate it, that you attain power, and you can see why power is attractive, and then why people succumb to it. So there's a degree of compassion to the fact someone like Harper has been seduced by the power, that his paternalism has gone mad, that I know for you is become the motto, and that's really how somebody goes in with a plan to do this, this, and that, and comes out completely corrupted and hyper-paternalistic, so there's an aspect of he didn't just wake up this way. The power, the whispers in the ears got to him, and that's the problem with excessive power.
It is for sure, not to mention that the people who crave excessive power generally aren't kind, compassionate individuals. Their craving has rounded off those corners sometimes, like you say, the whisperings.
Well,
But you could almost say that civilization creates these positions of power that wouldn't normally exist. I mean, think if you were just a village of people. The mayor is not like the Canadian president you were talking about.
Prime Minister, yep.
Prime Minister, sorry.
That's okay. Same.
I try not to get into the news. It's really depressing.
I think that's a very good idea. I salute you on that.
But yeah, like, you know, we've gone so global that we can know that people in Africa are starving and children are dying, but I can walk down the street to a fast food convenience store and feed my family for $10 with really crappy food, mind you. but you can do it. You know, there's this vast network of society, and there are just all these points of failure with power. And, you know, you can look at any religion or just look at organized society, and there has always been somebody who will step in to abuse that power for their own benefit or just to cause harm because they are sick and they need, I don't want to say help because, you know, or they need to be taken care of in a way where they cannot harm others.
Indeed, the sociopath.
It's all about money. It all come back to the money.
To a fast food convenience store and feed my family for $10 with really crappy food, mind you. But you can do it. You know, there's.
Boom.
Jeez,
Sorry. Welcome back, Darrin. I had to mute you. I could hear Dustin's voice. I guess there's a delay on the video. You almost have to mute the video. I don't know how to do it. I have two different computers running. I have the YouTube video over here, which I have on mute, so I can see the chat. And then it's a good chat. There's about 160 people.
Oh, yeah, it takes quite a bit of time to get in, actually.
I'm doing the same thing, and there's probably like a 25-second delay between the YouTube.
Yep.
Us. So, you know, just be mindful.
Welcome, Cali Smoke and Horcrux Official from Iceland. Welcome from Iceland. We got Swisky and Pie-Eyed in the chat. Els Rock, Zach P. Zach P just said, "What's up, D420K?" Well, it's good to have you guys all here for Hash Church. I hope to make it a weekly thing.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for holding this.
Well, I appreciate everyone showing up with solid conversation and solid opinions. It's just been a pretty much awesome chat. It's, you know, no one's really... We haven't had any kind of big trolls come in and cause any problems. Everyone's been respectful and bid their time. I definitely want everyone to say what they want to have. If everyone has something to say, by all means. If you're in the room here, just write it in the chat box that you have something to say. We can mute our mics and you can say something. And I'm going to give the floor to D420K because he's been waiting to get in here for a fuck time with time.
How the fuck is it going, man? Holy mackerel. I can't believe how much...
What's up, bro?
I can't believe how hard it was to get in here, but it was worth the wait. Trust me. I was clicking on the try again button every second. Just click, 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 click. And then all of a sudden I got in. I was like, oh, yeah. And then I got kicked out again.
What did you smash?
That's great. That's how everyone feels.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm in right now. So, you know, I'm going to rip on my Apex because I got my connection hooked up to inside. So I'm not...
Oh, I got an Apex coming in the mail. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yo, man, the Apex, I love these things. Absolutely love them. Is there anything
Can I ask you a question about it?
Go for it.
Yeah, so I've gone through a lot of the like adapters for your e-cigs for, I like the concentrates, but even with, you guys are real big on the resins, which I think would gum it up even more. Does the Apex have like the kind of good coils, or because I know a lot of them have like a cloth wick that gets real nasty. Does that have that?
Yes, they have a cloth coil in the middle of it, but the coil itself is titanium and very strong, very sturdy. I have broke a couple myself because I've had it in the cold, loading it with cold hard hash instead of the soft pliable hash that we usually put in. It was cold, and I fucked a couple up because I got sausage links for fingers, and sometimes they get in the way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
oh, I feel you there.
Having said that, when I do put it in from now on, I usually take if it's a hard piece, I just turn the element on, and then I just let it. It just sinks right down onto it nicely, and then I put it on, right? But there's they are the most durable ones, and that attachment that Mark's holding up right now, we've got a video. We did a video of hitting that, and
yeah, I saw that. It's great.
Dude, that is an attachment that that I want so badly. I tried to get one out of John very heavily, but He wasn't budging.
Is that a product that's offered,
It
or?
will be soon.
Yeah.
Because I've seen. Have you guys seen that other like? There's that specific vape that has an adapter like that, but it's so much money. It's like, it's a front level of the technology. The prices, it's really hard to get down on.
Yeah, that sucks, man. Where are you from, Dustin?
I'm in Pennsylvania, America,
Nice.
or United States. Sorry.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, no. I think I love this. This is so cool. The whole live aspect. I watch all the videos and.
Excellent. Are the laws still frightening in Maryland?
Well, Pennsylvania. Here, we have a protection for medical patients. So if you go to court, you have you can say, hey, look, I have a medical condition. This is why I did this. You don't make it legal, so I was forced to go through other means to acquire my medication. And they have a protection there. But there's a big local swing towards to Democrats, really, is what it is. A lot of young people are getting sucked into the Democratic movement, and we're getting a lot of new, more Democratic representatives that are going to probably be put in place soon, and they're just a little more friendly towards the whole idea of the medicinal use. Plus, we have the Amish here. I'm not sure if any of you know what Amish are people. They live classically, they don't use electricity. Now they do farm with animals, and they use animal waste as compost, which some people are against. But imagine buying organic, homegrown, Amish-grown marijuana. You can know these people. They base their entire lifestyle around living a pure lifestyle and living by the earth, only taking what you need, putting back what's got to be in. It's really it'll be exciting. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they grow great food. There's no doubt about that.
Oh my goodness, man! Some of the stuff they make. If you've never had a pumpkin pie from here in Pennsylvania, whew, boy, you're missing out.
Funny, I had a piece of pumpkin pie about an hour ago.
Nice.
I was from Manitoba originally, and we had the Hutterites, and they were similar.
Yeah. I mean, I think they branch off from the Dutch, same kind of origin.
Yep. Totally. Well, I'm probably going to run this for about 15 more minutes, and then we can still hang out in the chat room here. I'll just close off the live broadcasting, so if anyone has anything sort of essential they want to add. I think we've covered quite a bit of everything today. It's been a good talk.
I don't know if anybody asked this, but how are you liking the new Quave?
Oh, the Quave, I don't know why everyone thinks it's mine. I kind of try to avoid it in the things all the time. That belongs to my friend Higher End, who's got high-integrity glass art. You can check him out on Facebook as well as potentially a .com. I would just Google it, high-integrity glass art, mothership. A really beautiful gallery, access to really beautiful motherships, and he has one of the most spectacular glass collections going for mothership and some other beauties. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm lucky enough to get to hit them sometimes. He'll bring them over, or I'll go over to his place, and definitely look for more of those. He's more shy on camera, but I would love to do a mothership show where it's just, maybe me and Flav and a dozen epic mother pieces, just going through each one, reviewing them, talking about them, do nice close photos and a real nice sort of water test with a good camera and slow motion. Yeah. I can picture it all.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a good segue if you're interested.
What's that?
If you remember, you recently did a video with John B. You were talking about, or I'm pretty sure it's recent. It was etiquette if you break a bong.
Oh, dude, I took a little slack on that. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Well, I myself was like, man, I don't think I would ever go to Flav's house. I would not even go within 30 yards of his house because I knock things over all the time.
Dude.
I don't know if you guys can relate, but...
Well, I just know this. Humans are fallible. We are fallible. There's definitely a level of, are you comfortable around glass, or are you acting comfortable around glass because you want to be around glass? It can be a very costly mistake at the expense of your ego to do. And, people don't want to hear it sometimes, but sometimes people are like, oh, yeah, I'm fine around glass, man, no problem. Like, shh. Like, oh.
Yeah, and I mean, the values are so high on some of those pieces. I heard you say 25,000.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're one-in-a-world pieces blown by artisans, and even just putting a value on it.
Oh, but basically it means really don't fuck it up. Don't be the guy.
I don't think I would smoke.
This is just a $2,500 piece, and it's probably way less of a worry. But people still don't want to be fucking it up or chipping it or any sort of thing like that. So
well, that one's nice because it doesn't look fragile. But you pull out a Fabergé or one of those cool sharp ones.
To take this out and to put it in here, you need a steady hand. You do not want to just let anyone do that. And the other day where I inexplicably got a little upset when John did it on the video and took a lot of slack for it, it was because I've seen John do random things with this particular thing where he literally pulled it out and slammed it into a bong one time so fast. I was just like, what? I was like, why did you do that? He's like, I don't know. And it was funny because nothing bad happened, and I think it was even his bong maybe. But from that history and watching him, because I did it in the video. I took a hit of the mothership, I pulled it out, I took a hit of the Swiss perk or vice versa. So of course I didn't realize that he would also try the same thing. So when I saw him removing this from here, it gave in my opinion, it gave a great segue into the discussion that nobody really ever wants to have, which is, what do you do if you break someone's multi-$1,000 piece? What do you do?
How do you even make amends? Because unless you can talk to the guy who made it and say, dude, please remake this.
Put it this way, Flav and Ro both know that I, am steady around glass. They trust me around glass. They've left pieces with me. I still wouldn't go and take a titanium nail out of their piece and put it back in. I just wouldn't. It's titanium on the hardness scale is extremely hard and glass is extremely soft. If you know those two numbers, when they come in touch with one another, it's just so easy for glass to break, especially with titanium.
When you took one of Flav's, I think it was the fish piece out on the boat, you gave me a panic attack with that. I'm like, oh my god, you're on a boat.
Yeah, I know. Did you see?
It's a boat.
Yeah, the thing was rocking like crazy.
I know, and Flav's just standing there with it. He's standing up, holding the windshield while I'm driving to Bowen Island, and I look over at him, and I'm like, you really are a character, Flav. Like, you can't even.
That was what, $50,000?
I think it's $20-something-thousand for that Marcel bubbler. Yeah.
Is that the air trap?
It's the Phoenix. So it's all air trapped. It's the Phoenix head. Comes out at the top, and then there's the wicked, awesome octopus, the blue, cobalt blue, or whatever it is.
I like the one he has, the mask.
Yes, that's a bear claw mask. He has that. He wanted to bring it on the boat.
That's a special one. The mask is very special.
Yeah, well, Flav and I are doing a show this year in Amsterdam during the Cannabis Cup. We will be at the Damp Crane Gallery. He's entering a dozen pieces maybe, or half a dozen pieces, that's more likely, to the show. And what we got the idea the day we were out on the boat, which is why you want to take $20,000 pieces out on the boat, because you come up with great ideas, which was to take his pieces that he's entering in this show to epic areas around the world. Maybe I'll take one to Chile, one to Jamaica, a couple up in Whistler on the top of a mountain or something.
That would be.
Get 6 great photographs taken by me, print them, frame them, and hang them in the gallery that those very pieces are on display and for sale for at the show.
That'd be awesome.
So that's at the Damp Crane Gallery. They haven't announced the dates yet. I still have to get the majority of the shots, as I only really have one so far, but yeah, watch for that. If you guys are at the Cannabis Cup, you'll hear about it no matter what. But even if you're not, it may be somehow online through social media if you want to figure out the Damp Crane Glass Gallery. You'll find them probably on Facebook and Instagram and a few other things. I'm not sure where Flav is. Yes, I know exactly where Flav is. Flav is on his 150 lighter or 100 lighter or whatever he operates. I'm going to go and visit him soon. We're going to do a video. He's got 400 or 1,000 plants hanging right now, fully bloomed out and drying. Wipe the drool off your lip there, Horatio. You got a little... So who knows? Maybe Horatio will come with me. Maybe we'll make...
I'm thinking.
What are you thinking?
About the plants hanging. And like how big are the colas? Looking forward to that video.
Do you mean hanging as in like how you'll hang tomatoes and grow sideways?
No, I mean he's cut them down and he's now drying them and getting them ready for processing and everything. So I think
I was under the impression you can't grow down or sideways with the plant. It has to go up and down.
Well, I'm sure they do it at Epcot Center or something, but yeah, I'm not a big trying to figure out.
I've seen plants get tied to the side, and the buds that are on that plant grow straight up into little colons.
Yeah, right. It's an up thing.
They will grow straight up no matter which way you tie the plant. You're right.
They grow wherever the light's at.
Congo plant's going great, OSTF Dabs. He just asked how the Congo plant is going. It got way too tall. I had a few of them, actually. Hey, Joshua Corpy, just reading your comment about the Damkring. They always did have some of the best hash in Amsterdam. Both the Damkring and the Tweeden Camera, which is Dutch for second room. But to get back to the Congo plants, they are outside on my deck. I'm probably going to cut the 2 or 3 of them that I have and strip them into a bucket sooner than later and make Congo fresh frozen full melt. Stay tuned for that video. And my tents are empty right now. To give an update, I have nothing in my tent. I'm going to get the plants. What's that?
How'd that lush lighting work out, that LED you had?
Well, it was great. It vegged beautifully. I just never got to really finish and bloom under it, so I'll have to do a more accurate sort of test again when I start. Really, any day now. The temperature's cooled down here. It was super hot all summer for like 100 days, and my tents just couldn't handle it. I shut them down rather than let them suffer. And plus, I have pounds of fresh frozen weed in my freezer to run, and I have slabs of fresh frozen bubble pucks to sieve or microplane and dry, and I have bags of friggin' resin, like bags, literally.
What's with the micro sieving? Wouldn't that damage the heads?
It definitely shreds the heads, but you know, damage them the way you would damage them if you held a flame to them and burst them until they evaporated into a mist. I mean, I think if you were maybe trying to cure it for 100 years, it might affect it, but it's like, who even has full melt for longer than a couple of weeks, other than myself, who has like some 6 or 7 year stuff. 6 or 7 years seems to stabilize regardless of if it's stable, it's stable, is what I'll say. And if it hasn't been dried properly, and if too much moisture has been left in the wax membrane of the glandular trichome head, then that moisture will cause problems, and it'll be interlocked, almost like impossible to get out inside the oil. So it's very important to dry properly if you want to stabilize your resin so it lasts 10 years or longer.
So you would say that the integrity of the trichome head is not as important after isolation. You should get the same medicinal. Are you exposing those concealed terpenes when you?
You are if you leave them out in the open, but not if you put them in a cold environment with a black glass jar like the ones D420K uses. It's just a matter of how long are you going to have. In all reality, if who's making kilos, and even guys like Jibs from the Melts selling his stuff throughout Colorado at River Rock, he's making thousands of grams, but they're getting smoked in days. From patients. It never lasts. So I don't think the sieving versus the microplaning at that point is really that important, but it could be, and I like having the river.
Later problem when we get to the saturation.
Yep.
Especially because imagine when Marlboro starts growing weed, it'll be, or whatever that actual corporation is,
I'm sure they've been growing weed for a while.
But yeah, once it becomes available, I wonder then, because I don't know. I mean, it's just the medicinal benefits. That's what I liked about the BHO. It's like you get rid of the waxy trichome. You've only got that center, but then your battle is getting rid of the contaminant you used to source it.
Yeah, and the way you get rid of that wax is leaving a footprint and affecting and changing things as well. So I guess it all comes down to what you like.
You can activate THCs and CBDs in that process and turn some to permanent A's, I think, is another thing I've read. Now, and the science is just sadly not there.
I'm not sure if you can permanently turn them into acid. You know about that, Horatio? I mean, you're always able to decarboxylate, are we not? Always able to.
As long as heat remains on the planet as a option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can decarboxylate, which is a simple removal of a carboxylic acid ring from the molecule.
It's going to inevitably happen unless you're, throwing it down a cryo chamber. Our environment will do it, whether it's 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years. It's all happening. I mean, it's not a diamond, so. Yeah, everything's naturally supposed to break down and go back and rejuvenate, so don't expect anything to be permanent.
Exactly. As long as it lasts 30 to 60 days till the next time I have a crop coming down.
Well, I mean, if it's converting, it's just becoming edible on its own, so it doesn't mean it's not useful. It's just not maybe in the form you want it.
Oh, okay. So even if you experience degradation over time, you're saying that process is just decarboxylation?
You're going to be heating it to degrade those terpenes you're worried about shredding. So it's a matter of application, deifies, a certain aspect. Smoking versus eating are two different beasts. The terpenes that you're worried about are all burnt off when you make it. Yeah,
and I haven't actually, I haven't done the edible thing yet. Really rare to get here, and I'm a little bit scared to try it myself, just to mess it up.
Well, I mean, that's where you go to something that's not dangerous. I'm not talking about making BHO to eat it. You just stick with something like coconut oil, it's never going to rise up on you. All it can do is come out weak, and you got to try again.
Yeah, it's a great carrier.
Yeah, I'm going to look into that.
I'm not familiar. Unless you're mingling in things you shouldn't be. Coconut oil is not going anywhere, and it's not hurting you. So start from there. There's only the trichomes that you could theoretically lose, so just don't chuck your plant material if it comes out weak.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Bong rip? Everybody do a bong rip?
Yeah. I haven't seen you do a bomb rip in a while. Yakking, there's nothing going.
I'm puffing.
I always have one going, but we'll have another one.
Fresh frozen Astro Boy for the win.
818 headband.
But it's not as tasty as the Astro Boy, that's for sure.
Has anybody ever grew a strain that doesn't have a smell or a taste?
Yeah. Sounds like a bummer.
I think we call that not flushed in my neighborhood.
We call it called from the garden in mine.
Too dry.
I'm saying throughout the flower process.
Deadly dry could remove the.
Hey, Horatio.
Yeah.
Is there a place, a site, source for someone to find out more about your research, or can you give literally a real sort of quick 2 to 3 minute breakdown on what your explanation of what D-limonene is, just in layman's terms?
Well,
it's magic.
It's the smell that attracts us to the fruits that we've naturally eaten for our own health for a long time. I mean, we all know citrus fights scurvy and the basics, so it seems to be pervasive in many things, and humans have kept it here. If we didn't like citrus, we would have chopped down all the citrus trees ages ago. So D-limonene seems to be a current that's an undertone in many, many, many fruits and plants, and I mean it even shows up in pine trees. So you're looking at pretty much a naturally powerful component. I mean, aromatic hydrocarbons are powerful things. They're everything to do with our smell. So when it comes to D-limonene, it turns out to be hyper powerful in the non-polar world. It was just never removable to any great degree because in our application, it burns hotter than THC, so you've lost the race. So research and research, and I mean, if you just type D-limonene uses, you get 40 pages on its applications to when you read it, you're like, holy shit, this relieves a lot of suffering. Right down to the guy at the chemical plant hosing down trucks. So, I mean, it seems to be D-limonene is a key component within mankind. And we're finding that out as more and more research. You just keep Googling it, and it comes up to replace hexane. And hexane's a common solvent that we make all our pretty much our essential oils can be extracted that way in so many food processes, and it's not safe. It's not safe for the operator. It's prone to human risk, so D-limonene seems to be some form of solution that seems to be getting its rise similarly to cannabis in human awareness. And that's kind of why I started researching. I'm like, what is it about this thing? Maybe I should give it as much attention as we're giving cannabis and see what comes up. So I'm discovering it minute by minute as people report back. Mike says, I've got Crohn's, and I've read limonene is beneficial for Crohn's, and I'm like, well, can we pair that? And if you consume it, will it make a bigger difference than making your canna caps with BHO? And they're doing it, and now John has it, and Mike has it, and now I'm stressed I got to make more because there seems to be a need for whatever application.
Are there any negative side effects? And is it an oil? Is it basically like a fatty lipid?
It is a very light oil.
Okay.
But it is an oil.
Is there any kind of negatives that have been discovered at this point? Because, I mean, it sounds like the future if we're thinking about it.
Respect its power. It'll irritate you. I work with it. Obviously, I've become tolerant, but I typically, obviously, being inundated with it, it can irritate your skin. Obviously, there's pale lily types that have a thin dermis. So it mainly has to do with irritation on the outsides of our body. And that is the part where the plant goes, go easy on me, don't eat me all. And the plant uses it to protect itself from insects. So, yeah, we're prone to what the plant uses D-limonene for, because I know I can kill a wasp nest with it.
Horatio?
Yeah.
Where in Canada can people acquire, is it just Green Cross and Red Med Society?
Right now it's Sunrise Wellness Foundation on Broadway and Green Cross.
Okay.
I'm very selective about who has the patients with the most need and the most awareness, so I tend to flock there versus recreational markets.
No, I agree. I'm personally not even... I don't necessarily support recreational. I don't think that anybody should tell you what you can or cannot do, though. So, but I'd rather see the basis be for medicine than for partying.
But what if recreational was medicinal?
Preventative, medical as well. Sure.
What if you realize that just the use of it, the side effect is that it's just fun and awesome. But
I would agree, because I think you've discussed before the saturation of the endocannabinoid system.
Right.
Kind of creates like an empathy within oneself. I think it's because of the introspective nature of the plant and lets you start to, I don't know, anybody I know who smokes long enough, they start to become decent people. And I don't know how else to say it. Like, you start to think, hey, maybe 5 burgers burgers and fries and all this isn't right, or maybe animals do have feelings. Like, these are things that if you're on the basic system and you're drinking for your stress, you're not going to see. You're not going to think, oh, maybe we shouldn't be engaged in this war. We shouldn't be sending our young people to fight in foreign countries, or maybe we should. But like, a lot of that discussion just isn't happening with the inebriating effect of alcohol, because it just makes you dumb. And some people get dumb with weed, sure, but I think over time, I really appreciate how it expands the mind. And I definitely see that, and anyone who uses for an extended period of time, I would say to a saturation point, those people just become more aware and empathetic rather, to their neighbors.
Mr. Strain 73 says, every time someone uses it, it is medicinal. I will refer back to Brownie Marie. For some of you that may or may not know Brownie, she was an activist from the 80s and the 90s, old kind of grandma type lady who made some real good brownies, and her famous quote that I love so much was, there's no such thing as recreational cannabis use. It's all medicinal.
I guess the only reason I'm disagreeing is because recreational typically means mass production, and mass production means cutting corners, and the exposure to that same greed we talked about earlier. It's not really that recreational makes weed different, is that a mass amount of people who are just consumers seem to draw out people who aren't into the medicinal aspects of weed. So you could say
I think that has a lot to do with the prohibition
production because it stays medicinal. It creeps in. You find organic in the recreational market, that's medicinal.
Yeah.
When you got chemicals, it's not that it doesn't have the medicine within it, but that's what turns it into a pharmaceutical drug with side effects.
Yeah, you use concentrated forms
not
instead of
necessarily
microbes.
Found on the corner.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Yeah, I guess, I see exactly where you're coming from, Horatio. It is a powerful point to say, for sure, like, the commercialism of the rec scene, or even the med scene for that matter, is definitely not a medicinal aspect of how it's being done, how it's being grown unconsciously. But I think that has a lot to do with the fact that where those people are coming from, the majority of them are prohibition-based thinkers. They want to grow weed for a lot of money in a short time and sell it real quick. And I'm hoping that that's a model that will be left behind, because it doesn't really work out in anyone's favor other than the people who run that model.
And it doesn't respect the plant either. It doesn't give it the time. It's just like, kind of like our school systems. We try to force people beyond where they're supposed to be. Maybe the plant's not ready yet. Give it an extra week. You know what I mean? But they won't do that because they've got a profit margin. They've got to have that on the shelves 7 days from harvest, no matter what, because they've got to get as much money in their bank account as possible.
Well, that's just why that's the foundation of the scene right now. I think that a new scene will be built. And the builders will decide how they want to build, and whether they want to go the green route or whether they want to go the solid foundation route of building something that can stand on its own the test of time and really help in a way that's not just beneficial to the few but beneficial to the many, which is always the message of the cannabis plant. I'll never forget the first time I was in India. First time I ever went to India. There was cannabis growing everywhere, and my friend who was local was like, yeah, here it's called the poor man's weed because it's available to everyone. It's just there on the side of the road. Pull it out of the ditch if you want.
That'd be great.
Have you heard of anyone doing aquaponic cannabis? That was something I do.
Yeah,
I'm
25 years
aquaponics.
ago. 25 years ago, you can Google Breeder Steve from Spice of Life. I won't get into a big conversation about it now, but Breeder Steve definitely was big on the aquaponics, the guppyponics. He had Egyptian mouth breeder fish running, feeding off some worm shit, and then they were shitting, and their shit was going into his reservoir and feeding the plants. Very cool.
Microbes then use
that.
that.
The whole 9 yards.
So it's, Yeah, I mean, the idea that the government mystifies this plant as something different from any other plant, it's not. I can do that same thing with tomatoes. Like, the same growing method, right? The same process. Why is this one restricted?
Do you want to take that question, Darrin? Why is it so restricted? Why is this plant so restricted?
Marijuana?
Yeah.
Because
where does the fear come from?
From the government. From the fear of it fixing absolutely everything and taking every bit of money, factory and all that away from all kinds of other money-hungry motherfuckers, actually. That instead of taking away reforestation and planting hemp to do everything else, I seen a picture yesterday of a list of the things that it does, and it'll do everything that every industry is destroying right now, but in a positive way. I don't know why.
Industrial hemp could save the world. Yeah, it's nuts.
And medical marijuana can save the pharmacies and save people from getting sicker and all the side effects of, just look at the thing of, these commercials of being depressed and all that kind of stuff. Take this, or even a fucking proper bowel movement.
Zoloft, buy our Zoloft, buy our brand, whatever,
Our stool softener, and then there's a 10 to 15 second ad for the drug, and then there's a 2-minute ad for the side effects, including suicidal
But they sound real nice and wavy.
Like they're talking about, I don't know how true this is, but they're talking about how Robin Williams, when he killed himself, that he was on a drug that had those side effects, possible side effects. I don't know for sure, but what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are drugs that you're taking, and
they're not natural. They're created concoctions that we have no idea the harm. Even with 20 years of testing, it's so
they
few
give
people.
you a good idea of the harm. They tell you right on the thing. There's like 10 pages.
Which is horrible.
They tell you. They let you know. Yeah, they let you know exactly what's
going on. Oh, yeah, they tell you.
Medication for depression.
Imagine if food had those same standards. Wouldn't that be great?
But when anybody can grow 5 or 6 plants, like if it was legal and all that kind of stuff everywhere, it's like it's too fucking good to be true. You've got 5 plants you could grow in the summertime outside in your yard or in your greenhouse or more, depending on how much medicine you need or want. If you just want to maintain a healthy lifestyle, 5 to 10 plants would be good. You break it down into your coconut oils and your dry sifts and all that kind of stuff. You do your thing, and you get what you need out of it for the next till the next season throughout the winter, the fall and the winter and stuff, and you just keep going. Like I can't
think of anything more natural. Just what you said, like
my mind.
Working with the seasons.
Leads us, Darrin, into the next question right there from Scott Hetzer, who's asking about potential environmental effects of growing indoors with lights as opposed to outdoors, and how the industry is mostly moving, or is right now mostly indoors. I would say that I agree in the sense that the majority of the industry should be moving outdoors and accessing the sun-grown resins when they can. Throughout the season, obviously they won't be able to do that all through the winter, and there's still going to be personal med patients that would require, their own personal grows still being inside. Not everyone's going to be able to build them themselves.
Well, I have a question kind of related to that.
Okay. Could I just answer more of that question first? Sorry,
yeah,
buddy.
please do, Darrin.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry.
The reason for the outdoor sunlight, the raw sunlight instead of lights, is for the UV rays, because we are growing it for the plant and everything too, but we're mainly growing it for the resin heads. The resin heads become fatter and bigger and stronger to protect the plant from those UV rays. So therefore you will get fatter, bigger resin heads at your bigger screens, like your 140, 160 screen. If you've tried those screens and got some really good product from that, it is incredible. It gives you such a fizz, everything when you're smoking it, let alone the medicinal qualities of it, because they are fat heads. They produce protection resin from the UV rays, raw sun.
Yeah, that's why we're so stoked about Jamaica, to be honest, because who's got a better scope of the sun than that so close to the equator tropical sun-grown resin?
Costa Rica.
It's going to be pretty.
But yeah.
It's going to be pretty exciting. Yeah, Costa Rica. If you've ever been there and bought the local herb, it doesn't even come like within a mile of the local herb that you'll find in Jamaica. Quality-wise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
I just assumed because they have like
No.
12
Remember
permanent.
what your grandma says about assumption? I think the Jamaican culture has been growing cannabis much more and much more promotion of it. It's a cannabis vacation spot. It's a place where people go to vacation with cannabis, and that's not something Costa Rica.
That's kind of your fault, though. I mean, that's a recent thing. I would say, like,
no.
Would you say it's been like that for? I mean, you can't.
No, since 1965. Since 1965. People have been rocking it, going to Negril, hippies going to Negril, the whole 70s, the 80s. I didn't start going to Jamaica till 95. So, I did definitely not in any way, shape, or form start people going to Jamaica for herb. I promoted it. I tell people, wow, you could have a great herb vacation if you go to Jamaica and bring yourself a set of bubble bags and just look for some fields like this. Go rip out a couple of plants and run them through the bags. You can get some pretty darn nice product in a pretty darn good hurry.
How do you feel about the difference with greenhouse-grown stuff, like in Canada? I really want to get into the growing business whenever it becomes legal here, or if I move. It seems like greenhouse technology just seems really useful for increasing the power of the sun. You could heat by locally sourced wood chips or whatnot. It seems like nobody does it. They all go for the 1,000-watt HPS.
Well, the 1,000-watt HPS is a couple $100, and the greenhouse is a couple $100,000. So it's like, to do a real good greenhouse. People are growing hothouse tomatoes here in BC. If you've ever flown into Holland, there's just like endless greenhouses as far as the eye can see right by the airport. People are doing it, I can tell you that much. Not just necessarily with cannabis, but with all sorts of different plants. Greenhouses are great technology. I mean, it's why they exist. They're awesome. They protect the plants. You can substitute light. You can block out light. I mean, they're no-brainers. Anyone that grows food or cannabis is like would love to have a greenhouse.
So you'd say more it's a cost barrier to entry because we're new, that technology is still expensive.
Well, no, I mean, honestly, I think you just don't know anyone that are growing monster greenhouses full of cannabis. I've been in many of them myself, so I know they're happening all over the world in different countries, so I have a different perspective. Perhaps you do. I know people.
Yeah, I go from YouTube. I'm a YouTube monster, believe me.
Yeah, so
I live vicariously through people like you and John B. And I appreciate what you do by that.
Within reason, there's only certain things that people show on YouTube. There's still a lot that won't be shown that still exists in reality. And things like monster, giant Swiss operations or whatever, or wherever, like they're doing it. I mean, I'm sure even in Canada, there's probably multi-100,000 square foot greenhouses being set up right now with cannabis licenses. I haven't myself personally walked through any that big, but I would suspect, yeah, River Rock has big greenhouse for sure. Shanty Bubba's been doing greenhouses forever. Keith just mentioned Shanty Bubba. I was in Shanty Bubba's greenhouse in 2001 or 2, and it was an acre, a greenhouse that was an acre of glass, and it was all Calio, 6 foot tall, beautiful, perfect plants. It was one of the most inspirational greenhouses I've ever been in.
Do you think there's a reason is it more like a trade thing that they're just not, that's not publicized very often? Like, because you never, I mean, granted,
no, some people are doing, they don't have time to record everything they're doing, they're literally just doing. A guy like Shanty Bubba, I mean, he would literally have to pay out of his own pocket for people to film and record him and edit it to put it up on YouTube for people like us to watch, which really means nothing to him because he's doing. He's constantly working, he's got a family. I understand it.
Do they advertise it as greenhouse? That's what I'm going at. I look at the listings in the legal areas, and you never see greenhouse grown as a feature. Like,
Yeah, you do.
But organic.
I've seen it lots. But maybe not on YouTube. I don't know. You got to travel around and go to different dispensaries and go to different countries, and you will absolutely see greenhouse grown written right on the product if it's greenhouse grown.
I think that's like.
That's weaker.
What's that, Horatio?
I was gonna say, I mean, that's where, like, if you look at where you say recreational can be medicinal, I'm like, well, yeah, if everybody was searching for the sun, which is the medicinal key via a greenhouse, and I'm like, well, River Rock's doing it. It's just they don't blanket the world when it comes to agendas. But so recreational, absolutely. As soon as you would just know it as the better weed, you wouldn't necessarily see it labeled as greenhouse grown. It would just be unnaturally different and one of the best you've had in your life, and you wouldn't know why. There are plenty of people doing it. It's just whether that recreational market gets dominated by that style of people who are aware of the subtleties of even benefiting, you know, from a carbon footprint, from if this sun mixed with my HPS, that might give me an edge. It's just business. It's just smart, intelligent business to work with what's naturally gonna give you an advantage with humans. If the sun goes with us, if I add it to my plant, I might have an advantage in business. So recreational done that way is an exceptional medicinal market and model. So it's just, you could say typically locally how what the people access is not like that unless you're looking at something like Denver or operations that people like Tony build. So standards and recreation in the future, if you've got people architecting the new programs, if you look at, well, what happens if we mass produce bubble hash? Will it produce E. coli or fire? I'm like, well, is Bubbleman in charge, or is it just a bunch of dudes on a rampage in garages? So the future can look bright with commercialism. It's just a matter of the characters that develop that future. So that's why Jamaica could be exceptionally exciting if medicinally minded people are jumping in versus how much weed can we pull out to label as Jamaican weed. So it's a mixed batch, and it just has to do with the humans that are involved in what they fight for.
True. It's whether it's fueled by passion or whether it's fueled by greed. And I'm happy to fuel mine by passion.
I think that's what draws people to the medical versus recreational, because medical is obviously passion, right? Medicine, passion, it's healing. Whereas recreational, it almost seems profit-driven. But hopefully, like you said, the Mary lady, it's medicine for everyone.
Everything's profit-driven, unfortunately. Both the medicinal and the recreational aspect right now are both completely profit-driven.
Hopefully you can drive your profits.
That's my country's fault.
What's that, Horatio?
It's just a matter of whether your profits are driven by good medicine or good slimy tactics. So there's nothing wrong with profits from good medicine because you put in the work and you have the heart. And people acknowledge and recognize that. So I think the more people recognize good medicine is good business, the more recreational can be completely medicinal, void of drug-type side effects. So that's really, if anything, we need to promote is that making good medicine is good business. And then it becomes attractive to reading.
Focus on quality versus quantity.
Well, focus on development.
Yo, thanks for everything, Bubbleman. I'm out of here, dude.
Hey, take it easy, bro.
Seriously, thanks for. See you, everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks a lot, dude.
If anyone else has any particular questions before I stop broadcasting, I know we've kind of been dominating the conversation. If anyone that hasn't spoken has a question that would like to ask, I'd gladly answer it. Otherwise, in the next 5 or so minutes, I will stop broadcasting live, keep the chat going just in Google Hangouts, and call it a day for Hash Church, episode 2.
Hello, Patrick.
Patrick Clark.
I'm sure everyone would just love to see this happen every Sunday. This is great. I love that you have a church idea. As an atheist myself, I've recently thought that the idea of a church is a great thing, and I think focusing it around the medicinal thing I think you've done something that you're gonna really appreciate here, Bubbleman. I think in 10 years, 5 years, you're gonna be like, holy crap, look what I did.
Well, we all did it. It's all a part. Everyone's a part of it. I may be a small spark, but it takes kindling and logs to get a real good fucking fire going. And I thank everyone for being their part. Spark, kindling, or log. I appreciate you guys all, and we're all doing our own part. And we're all sharing the information, and we're all enjoying dabs. So I'm gonna pretty much end it off with one more dab before I stop broadcasting. And feel free to join me.
Will do.
Roger that. You can tell by the torch.
Yes. That'll probably...
I think you can already sit back and say, look what I've done, because we're all together right now in this right here. Just boom, already.
It's great. There's 163 people watching.
Like,
and those are just the people that experience it live. 100 times that will see this video, and hopefully they'll learn. Like, that's so great.
Philip, Swisky, Fast Reflex, Cosmic Leviathan, Keith Ferguson, Peace Pipe 215, The Rat Dude, Dirty McQuirty, and Elegant. Thank you guys all for coming in to chat. We'll see Dr. Atomic again, yes. Canifarian Church, I like it. We're here at the Canifarian Church. Maybe next week I'll have my good friend Prophecy come in and chat with us from Kingston, Jamaica. Maybe play a little tune for us.
Slayer.
Hey, D420K, do you use any oil on that beard, man? Because I'm growing my beard and that shit gets itchy.
No, I don't. I haven't even heard of that before. What, I put conditioner in it when I wash it. That's about it. Just to keep it nice and for my wife.
You never heard of beard oil? That's like a whole market.
It's an industry, man. It's a whole industry. Don't get into it, D. It's expensive.
Fuck, I might have to, buddy. I might come down to Van Nuys with this just... Is that Mateen?
Yeah, I rock the same kind of thing as you.
Is that Mateen? In here?
No, it's Mateem's lookalike.
It is, so his stunt double.
Yeah.
Wow.
MTTWLS93. You look like our friend Mateen. But I think you're older than him. Because he's pretty young.
Do 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 do.
Do do do.
Yeah, this is fun. Next time I'll know how to get in a little quicker.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to start it properly, Darren. Can you imagine? When I started,
you know that you can actually whitelist people, Bubbleman, so that your preferred guests can always get in. So, like, you could have D420, Darrin, John B. You could have them on a separate list.
Yeah.
So that they're always allowed to join, regardless
Excellent. I
of
like that I can control everyone's volume. I really like that.
Oh, you can? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I could just literally just turn the volume right down if I needed to.
Can you add more people to the chat, or is it just this much because of the bandwidth?
Yeah, I guess Google just, they do a 10-person chat, but it's cool. We got 163 people, plus because it's live on YouTube right now, we also have, however many people are in the chat, which I'm not really sure how to figure out. I can't really see, but I'm sure there's a few in there.
Oh, I've been talking to people in the chat mostly, actually.
Everyone's asking when the next church meeting is, so I would say we'll do it next week. I might do it a little bit earlier, maybe 10 o'clock. I felt like I was waiting for church this morning.
Yeah, I was too.
I want people all stoked and excited, like, damn, what's up with you? Church in an hour, and I just wish it was now.
Well, maybe we could do a session of a couple of us going through the screen sets of maybe a couple different grades of hash and.
Dude, I made hash earlier in the room. I guess you weren't in here. I was making hash with the screens. I was showing the process.
I did see that. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's key. It's key to do stuff like that every time. I'll sort of script up specific stories we can do for each week and invite specific speakers to come in because I was happy to have Horatio come in and talk a little bit about LHO today, and he's always an interesting dude to chat with. Glad D420K made it into the chat, and of course, I'd like to see people like Matt Barron, or I could invite Adam Dunn from the Adam Dunn Show, TH Seeds and Hemp Hoodlum. I could invite Dr. David Allen in to talk about the endocannabinoid system for a church one Sunday. Like, we could do really cool things, and I think it would be of a value to have those types of shows recorded and just sitting on YouTube for future use, and of course for our enjoyment in the moment.
As much knowledge as you are willing to share is best. Free knowledge, I believe, should always be. All knowledge should be free, but like, the more you can share in this cause, like, people just don't have access. They don't know.
I want some pumpkin pie.
He thinks that weed is just getting high. Well, hey, I'll tell you what. I'll mail you some pumpkin pie. You mail me a hash puck.
Just make some pumpkin pie, Darren. You're a chef.
I can, yeah, but I'm curious on the.
You don't understand. They have a different way. I can't explain it either, and I used to be a chef.
Can you give me the recipe?
They won't give it to you. You have to marry in and then grow a beard and wear the hat. And
What about just donate my seed?
Dude, Darren, why don't you just do that shit?
What's that?
Okay, actually, 2 o'clock, guys. It's been an amazing show. I'm going to say goodbye, and we're going to stop broadcasting because we've done a solid 3 hours, I think. And, yeah, it's been 3 hours. I'm going to stop it at exactly 3 hours, and I'll keep the chat going in here. The YouTube chat's going to go good. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this. It was a totally epic, awesome day and time. I was happy to share it with all of you. And we'll see you next time.